Hi. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was making my tea. Took me a moment longer than I was expecting, but hi. Hello. Hey there. The website is not down. I have asked White Nervosa like on 3 separate occasions, maybe 2 separate occasions, like, hey, the front page of my website says under construction. Can you please put my banner there instead? And it just falls through the cracks and then I forget about it and I don't follow up. So sorry. Yeah, it's been it's been 3 years now that I've had my own website and I just haven't gotten her to switch it out. Plus, I'm in the middle of like a potential kind of rebrand. I don't know. I haven't decided exactly how to move forward, so I don't really have like a graphic that I need her to put up on the website. Anyway, sorry. Inside baseball bullshit. Hi everybody. YouTube chat is bumping today. Hi Drea over in the website chat. Ancom Jane was also over there. Hello. What kind of tea today? Today is a blooming tea. It's actually got a little bit of a pinkish hue to it because it's one of my flower ones. This one had marigold, jasmine flower, and what's the other one? It's some flower that starts with a G that kind of looks like a clover flower. It might literally be a clover flower. I actually do not know, but it's a little pink purplish flower. And it was kind of interesting, like doing flower infusion teas, you can actually see that the flowers lose color if you steep it. And especially if you steep it the second time, which I usually do with the blooming tea. I feel like I might as well get the most out of it that I can. Pretty much any tea you can steep twice. It'll just be a different flavor profile and like less caffeine. But yeah. It's pretty good. Ooh, I need to put honey in it. I'm stashing the honey in my office. It's like not in the kitchen because my younger sibling puts like 2 or 3 tablespoons of coffee or of honey in every cup of tea, and I'm okay with that because they are underweight, and I'm like, okay, you need to gain weight, whatever. But I feel like it's a waste of good honey, so I'm like, you use the Walmart brand for your tea. I bought the special honey from the farmer's market for me. That's for me. It's my special little treat. But YouTube chat right now is bumping. Thank you everybody for hanging out in the YouTube chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Ancom Jane, Nikki Star, Agnieszka, sick username. Dally, what's up? Hello, Victoria, aka KJB. Hello. Kenja, or Kenya, potentially. Hello. Molly, I see, Molly. And then Kenne. It's been a little minute since I've seen you, Kenne. And Naomi, hello. And Mersh, hello Mersh. I thought you were typically not available during the week, so it's good to see you. Oh my god, my giant cup of tea. Does it have enough honey in it is the question we're answering now. Lux being honey elitist. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so if I buy a thing of honey that's this big, I don't know how many ounces. That's about a pound of honey, okay? This pound of honey costs $10. And if my sibling uses like a noticeable and measurable amount of it every time, I'm like, it's not worth it to give you $10 honey. Like, if you're gonna use this in a appreciative way, not in a mostly I'm just using this to sweeten something way. You gotta appreciate the flavor. Add a little bit more. I'm feeling too lazy to sit at a desk or move my laptop, so I'm on mobile for now. Oh yeah, no worries. That's cool. Speaking of feeling too lazy, I'm so eepy. I'm so eepy. I've started working out this week. So I have been gradually trying to get back into it by doing my recumbent bike cardio in the mornings. But I've been like, I want to get back into strength training. So I'm trying to get back into strength training. And I think that's part of why I'm tired, because I'm not used to actually like lifting or like moving my body in major ways. And also I just did not sleep. Like last night I was like, trying to be a little frisky at my partner or whatever. And we ended up just hanging out for a few hours. And then we went to bed. And he was like, it's up to you. And I was like, I've been hanging out with you for hours. And now at the time that I want to go to bed, Like, yes, I do want to do what I do. So it was I went to sleep later than I expected. So I'm eepy today. I do not know if we're gonna go the full 4 hours. It also may be the case that I have to run really quick because my landlord is doing some annoying fucking bullshit that might require entry to my place. So I am going to potentially have to run and open the door, but hopefully not, honestly. I really hope that they just don't. Sometimes people just don't get subtlety. It's true. It's not like I didn't enjoy just hanging out with my partner. Like, I just, like, there's a chair in his office that I can go sit in there with him, and we just, like, chill and talk about stuff, and, like, he showed me a video game that he bought recently, and we were talking about Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Like, this is just my life. I have special North German Frisian tea sugar. Ooh, tea sugar. Girl, what? By the way, the name is pronounced Agnieszka. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I can see how that works. Cool, yeah, Agnieszka. That's cool. I appreciate you teaching me how to say your Polish name. Hey, congrats. Alone in the YouTube chat is just now having got on estrogen. Congratulations. That's so exciting. I hope that you get the 2-week benefit. Like, within the first 2 weeks, a lot of trans women and trans femmes say that they just feel a lot better mentally and emotionally connected to themselves. And so I hope that you get that kind of immediate benefit even before the noticeable changes start to occur. Next time, show up wearing nothing but leather straps. Maybe he'll figure it out then. He knew. He knew. I think it was just a matter of context. Or maybe I should have been more overtly persuasive. But I still got what I wanted. I just had to stay up late to get it. It was fine. Yesterday I was like, I think I might be ovulating. I don't know. Don't know where else all of these tears and horniness are coming from. Had my hospital check earlier this week. Recovery's going well. Nice. Dally, did you just have surgery? Maybe you did tell me that already and I just didn't retain that information. But I'm glad that you're recovering well. Whatever it was you're recovering from. That's always good. I have been a busy bee today. I felt like I had a really hard time getting anything done yesterday, and then I ended up doing chewed gum anyhow. And then today I was like, I'm gonna do this task and this task and this task, and I just got a bunch of shit done. Oh, histo. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, usually I feel like the recovery for hysterectomy tends to be pretty relaxed. Like, from what I have been able to ascertain by just observing other people, it seems like hysterectomy is, as long as there aren't any complications, it seems like a pretty easy surgery to recover from. So I hope that it continues being along that way for you. Shut up, Nuvenal. Oh, yes, busy bee honey reference. Do I need to start incorporating yellow into some of my goth outfits? I don't know. I feel like it'd be cramping the style of... I have bee fairy friends. I'm thinking about fairy friends and shit like that a lot this week because the Kansas City Renaissance Festival is starting this weekend and I'm so sad I don't get to be there. Oh, real quick, before we get too much further into the conversation, there's about 30 people in here. There's about 20 likes. Hitting the like button is a quick, easy, free way to support the show. It tells YouTube to show it to more people immediately. So even if you don't have the ability to super chat or donate directly on the website, liking the show is a super good way to support. And it tells YouTube, like, yo, show this to more people, and then more people come in. I don't know about you, but I want more people to hang out in here, so... As a cybergoth, do purple or neon green? Well, the question was, should I incorporate the bee? But yeah, neon green is kind of one of the vibes that I really like, or at least like big vibrant greens. Like, as you can tell, I have these vines all over everything in my office, and like the green lights. I change the lights every once in a while, but I was feeling green today. Feeling green. Oh, hey, look at that. The thing popped up for you to click like and subscribe and hit the bell and join Patreon. What? Listening in the background, peer review for paper number 2 came back positive. Only a few revisions needed. Dab. About to start driving, so no chatty for me. Yeah, don't chat while you're driving. That's bad for you. But I did see you guys talking in the Discord about that's so far in your PhD journey. It's so close. It's so near. If you start doing yellow and black, we're gonna have to start making Ant-Man and Wasp references. Oh, I guess so. That's true. I just got a new leather bustier to wear. Bustier. First time going to KCRF since I transitioned. That's so cool. There's plenty of trans people at the Renaissance Festival. Like, oh God, do I know anyone there who's going to be employed this year? I have a trans friend who works at, I want to say it's called Crimson Leather. And I don't actually know. I don't know whether all of my trans friends are, I mean, yeah, plenty of my trans friends are fairies also out there. Got my fae friends. This isn't like the first Renaissance Festival that I will have missed in my adulthood, but it is the first one that I've missed in a long time. Hopefully next year we'll be able to save up some money and save up some paid time off and make the trip, especially because like my partner and I met at the Kansas City Renaissance Festival. We like became friends and then we started dating back when you would actually meet people in real life and not through a dating service. And our anniversary is like our marriage anniversary is right at the end of fair. Like, well, we started dating basically the last weekend of fair one year. And then we decided to get married at the same time as our regular anniversary. So it's like toward the end of the Renaissance Festival in October is when our anniversary is. And that was kind of our plan was we were hoping to be able to sort of celebrate our anniversary by coming out to like the first weekend of Renaissance Festival. Maybe we would need to, I would feel like we should do something on the actual day as well. But yeah, next year, maybe next year. Can one be both goth and fae? Asking for a friend. I think so. I mean, I think that that's kind of the aesthetic that I'm trying to put together is like when I say like goth forest witch, the witch has some fae elements to it for sure. I met my spouse when we worked front gate together in 1991. That's so sweet. I love that. So since there's some Rennies in chat who will care, my partner and I met because I was selling ocarinas. They were English pendant style ocarinas, so they weren't like the Legends of Zelda style. They were this way, like doo 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 instead of like boop 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 boop. So I would work by just like sitting there and talking to people and like selling the ocarinas. They were like $20, and sometimes I would get to keep one at the end of the season. I wasn't allowed to like stash it or hide it or anything. It's like if we happened to not sell one that I liked, I could keep one at the end of the season. My partner bought the one that the ocarina that I was eyeballing for my end of year bonus, and I was like, "You son of a bitch." That's when we met. And I think it was the following year, someone that I was dating was working at the bungee trampoline ride. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's called the Pirates Plunge at KCRF. And my partner now was working there. And like we ended up like kind of kindling our friendship at that time. And then I broke up with the guy that I was dating and started dating my partner. Like I'm kind of taking a long story and making it much shorter. But yeah, that was TLDR. He bought the ocarina that I really wanted, and that initiated our friendship, and then we became infatuated, and we started dating, and there's the story, you know? So ocarinas, music, very central to our relationship. I have to turn my air conditioner on, though, because it turns out that fishnets are really fucking hot, so give me 1 second. Okay. Goodness. I'm mostly Victorian goth with lots of lace, but I do have a bit of fairy. See? Work it. Whatever you do. Agnieszka says, I met one of my partners at Mara Loon Festival last year. Nice. I had to wait for my current partner to break up with a jouster. Nice. Met at front gate, had to wait for her to break up with a jouster. That's like your girlfriend has to dump the jock that she's with in order for you to date her. Like that has the same kind of vibes. Well, what was keeping me busy today? Let's see. So yeah, I'm exercising in the morning. I'm trying to get that out of the way in the morning. Did some glute bridges today. So part of the reason why exercising is kind of difficult for me right now is because I'm learning so much about how inefficiently I've been using my body. And by that, I mean, I think that like a lot of us are prone to these certain patterns, but we don't know how to fix them, right? Like you got shrimp neck, you curled over like a shrimp, and you're like, I don't really know how to deal with that. And probably something you're not even aware of is that at the same time your hips are all fucked up. It's like, oh, your lower back hurts? That's probably because your hips are fucked up. And like learning stuff about my shoulders too. So here are some things I've learned. Like, and it's not like I'm not using muscles to hold up my body. I'm just using the wrong muscles to hold up my body. So that's what I mean about inefficiently using my body. You know, like I've got all this tightness in the front of my hips. And that's like basically weirdly like tightness in your hips makes your butt stick out more, which feels like it should be the opposite way around. But yeah, it makes your butt stick out more and then it fucks up your lower back. So you have to engage your ab muscles and the tops of your glute muscles to pull your pelvis back into alignment. So there's muscles that I don't normally have to use that I'm using down in my abs all the time right now. And obviously I'm trying to correct shrimp neck. So I'm trying to be mindful to like, I have a tendency to like, my chin goes up and out. And I'm like, so I'm trying to tuck the chin down and back, and that helps. But it also is like, now I'm using muscles that I don't normally use, or I'm stretching things. And I'm like, you have to use the muscles in the front of your neck to kind of push your head back a little bit to, again, bring it into alignment with the rest of your body. The most recent thing I've just learned, and I honestly think that this is going to make the biggest difference to my shrimp neck, is about shoulders. I think we all kind of generally have this understanding that our shoulders are like slumped and that we should put them back. But it's not just pulling the shoulders back that you need to do. You also need to rotate them back. Which sounds kind of weird, but hear me out, okay? So your shoulders are being pulled forward because your chest is tight. And if you've ever heard of like somebody tore their rotator cuff, keeping in mind like part of the function of the shoulder is to be able to rotate in its socket like that. So like you can feel it like rotating in the socket. Most of the time, a lot of people's are rotated forward. So you actually have to not just pull your... So if I'm just like... I'm just trying to pull my shoulders back versus like rotating my shoulders in. And you end up like your palms are more facing a little bit forward when you do this. And it's going to stretch in the front and strengthen in the back. And I just did a new shoulder... well, not new. I got back on the push-ups progression train. And for me, where that usually starts is with wall push-ups. So I basically just did my first wall push-ups correctly ever in my life. Or no. It wasn't wall push-ups. Well, that was part of it. But the thing that made the biggest difference was I do like wall pull-ups. And you basically just grab a door frame. And you use that to like pull yourself. And it's like a back workout, you know, for a progression on the way to doing actual pull-ups. So I'm basically like, oh, I did that correctly for the first time in my life by rotating my shoulders back in. And like, it put so much more in my back and my shoulder muscles than it usually does. So I'm fucking tired because I'm like using my muscles a bunch in a way that I don't normally. Ah! Good evening, friends. Welcome, friends. I was on Chewed Gum last night. Like, if y'all don't know already, you probably have heard me talk about The Line plenty, because I do the Transatlantic Call-In show many, many Thursdays. But I've also been on more of the other shows. And, like, I kind of forget this because I'm on Takis all the time, and we don't take a lot of religious calls on Takis. We take mostly like trans-related calls that honestly most of the time people do not try to justify their hatred of trans people to us by citing the Bible. For the most part, when people call us on the line, they're saying, I don't think it's right for you to do this to kids. And so we end up being able to have a conversation about statistics and science and well-being and medicine. So that is nice. But I forget sometimes, like, yeah, actually the line as it is an atheist thing. So I'm like much more heavily involved with the atheist aspect of it nowadays, which feels good though, because I enjoyed the atheist community. Like, the main reason why I fell away from that was because I felt like it was getting really repetitive, which, to be fair, so has trans activism. It's gotten really repetitive because nobody can come up with an original thing to say. I've heard everything before. And I have like 3 different ways to approach and rebut those points for every single one. So, and also because back in the day, there was a huge conflict within the atheist community about basically whether to care about intersectional issues. And of course, people within the atheist community were using their positions of power and influence to sexually victimize people, and just generally be creeps and stuff. So there was just a lot of weirdness that made me feel like I wasn't being supported in the other things that matter a lot to my life. Like, being trans matters a lot to my life, and I did not like that I was made to feel like my pronouns were like a problem to the atheist community or the movement. So I sort of split off with the social justice atheists. And then I found out, like, after a period of time that those people are fucking annoying because of the woke scold culture. And I was like, it's not right that in order to have my pronouns validated, I now have to tolerate, like, an environment where my skepticism is being suppressed because I'm not allowed to ask questions. Like, it's very dogmatic. Like, that was my experience with it. So I kind of fell away from both communities for a while and have been just focusing on my own shit and dealing with being disabled. And obviously you feel alienated from every community as a disabled person because disability is not prioritized. But it's nice to get back into the atheist community and feel like this version of atheism is conscientious of trans people, conscientious of disability. I mean, we don't really like focus on disability, but the owner of the company, my friend Jimmy Snow, has like serious chronic illnesses, and like that's part of why he does the work that he does, is because it is accessible to him. And for like the last 3 years, he was able to step away, and the machine kind of kept working with very little influence on his part, or like, you know, selective influence and not being on camera. And now he feels better, and so he can be on camera again. So like, if there were disability things to discuss, I'm sure he would be receptive. So I'm like in a space now where my skepticism, my queerness, my transness, my disability, my autism, like all of those things can be present. And that feels really cool. And it's nice. And I like everybody that I work with. So it's been really cool getting to go on some of the other shows. Last night on Chewed Gum was... her YouTube channel is called The Skeptical Heretic, and her name is Taylor, and she's pretty new to our network. She's only been on for like the last month or 2. And so she's still kind of getting into the swing of it. I feel like I was having to try not to talk over her and like make sure I'm like, okay, Taylor, you respond to that, because I don't know what the fuck else to say. Just like trying to hold space for her, because she doesn't seem very comfortable interjecting. But yeah, it was cool. We were talking about purity culture, and if you're at all curious, you can check out, I have a separate channel that I just started called Luxander Line Clips, or you can just type in like Luxander on the line and you might find it that way. But Luxander Line Clips, and I've just started uploading clips from the line, which I'm allowed to do. They might end up being posted again later on the mainline channel, but usually not for a few months. So, we were talking about purity culture, and I've gone ahead and like uploaded those from today, or scheduled them to upload. It's interesting. I'm definitely not at all rusty talking about religious issues. But it was really interesting to actually get to do the atheism stuff. Because even though last month I was on, I was on Skep Talk with Aaron Ra, and I was on the Hang Up with Matt Dillahunty, but the people who call in for Aaron and Matt are like weirdos who almost don't have a coherent ideology. So it was like, oh, a little bit of a change of pace. Like, let's actually dig into the religion aspect of this. How long have I been following you and I didn't know you were autistic? I don't know. I have also like been kind of back and forth on whether to overtly claim that I'm autistic, because I've never been diagnosed, but it's like very obvious that I do have it. Just do your own thing. Early 2000s atheist annoy me like hell as a spiritual agnostic witch who does rune magic and woke scolds. Get the F out of here. Yeah, it was just, it was awkward for a bit, feeling like I wasn't actually able to be involved in any kind of community that I felt really close to. Like, obviously, I believe very strongly in making yourself a part of your community. So even if we are basically just getting to know people who are our neighbors, like people who will disagree with us about things, I think you can be a member of a community in that way. But I also do feel like if you're lacking some commonality with your neighbor, it's hard to feel really fully embraced by them, or at least, having some certain things in common or what have you. So obviously I've been attracted to being friends with trans people and building a community focused around trans issues for trans people for the most part. And that has challenges. Like, we don't all agree about things. When I was most heavily involved in the queer community, I felt like I couldn't talk about my anti-theism and my atheism because, like, Christian queer people don't like it. And they still are going to do the same bullshit that non-queer Christians do, that ends up the situation ends up being that, like, my atheism is being oppressed and marginalized within the queer community. It's fucking annoying, actually. Well, hello, Quantum Chaos. Chewed Gum was excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I had fun. It was good. I don't know if maybe we went on a little bit too long with, like, maybe 1 hour is too long of a clip with Martin, but I don't know. I have also sometimes felt like the calls go longer on shows that aren't Takis, so it may just be that, like, it's a procedural difference. Like, we do things different on other shows. I could have moved on, I guess, from Martin, but I felt like it was a good conversation and that maybe we were going to be able to make it somewhere with it. Quantum Chaos makes a good point, which is that there are 38 people here, but only 41 people here, but only 33 likes. If you're just coming in, click that like button. It is quick, it's easy, it's free, and I appreciate it very much. It definitely does make a difference for the YouTube channel, so appreciate it. Fair, my fiance is autistic. Yeah. I've now kind of evolved to this place where I'm just like, yeah, I'm ADHD. Like, it's pretty clear. I just made my own queer community, edgy older millennial queers. I guess that's kind of what I've done here. There's like a dedicated group. There's always at least 25 people here. And so I'm like, okay, dedicated group of fans where you guys know sometimes I'm going to say something's fucking retarded. And I use it very selectively, but it's going to happen sometimes. Usually affectionate. Like, I'll be like, I'll say it affectionately toward. I might start using it with Jimmy sometimes, too, just to be like, dude, you're so retarded right now. because I know he's autistic and it would be funny as us for an in joke for us. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm a little bit edgy, but I feel like maybe sometimes I'm a little bit of not a cinnamon roll, because bad things happen to a cinnamon roll, but kind of similar to that, where I seem like I want to think that I'm edgy, but actually I'm just like a sweet little muffin. Like I'm a polite little muffin boy. When I think I'm being mean to people on Takis, it's just forceful but still mostly polite, direct communication. It's like, but I feel like I'm being such a jerk. A fun thing is explaining how all Abrahamic religions are garbage and then watching the guns come out. I mean, I think that they do not have equal impact on the earth. But it's, all equally based on difficult to confirm magical stuff. Takis calls so often end in meltdowns, so it makes sense that they're shorter. Maybe. We also have a lot of... we also have a ton of friendly callers, and I don't want to sit there with a friendly caller for an hour. Like, that's not what I am trying to do with my time. Back in the 2000s, I still thought I was a cishet dude, so I didn't think I belonged in the queer community. Fair enough. I guess there was still, like, a feminism-oriented section of the atheist community, but I guess even then, like, if you think you're a cishet dude, you might feel like you're not welcome in the feminist community, which would make sense, because at the time, it wasn't necessarily as expansive of a movement, or many feminists are skeptical of men trying to join feminist movements. Like, I have known people who've been like, yeah, I was in a relationship with this guy who talks a lot of good feminism and is not like that as a partner. You heard it here, folks. Lux doesn't like friendly people. Yeah, I don't trust y'all. If you're too friendly, I'm like, what do you want? You're trying to get something from me. I totally didn't even bring any water in here. What a goober. I probably have not drank enough water today. I can, like, hear the increase of vocal fry in my voice. Yum, yum, yum. Takis calls are also often just here is thing. Here is rebuttal to thing. Goodbye. And aren't a lot of room for long tangents like a discussion about religion and skepticism has. Yeah. I do really wish that people on Takis who call would be more honest about their motivations. Like this happens all the time when we take transphobic callers or people who are trying to make, like, an argument that is not in support of trans people. So often they will start with something like, I'm concerned about children. And I'm like, okay, well, we can have a conversation about that. And then we talk about that for 20 minutes. And then at the end of the 20 minutes, they're like, well, I don't think that a man can become a woman. And it's like, okay, well, we should have maybe started with that. It's like, if you think that being trans is inherently a bad thing or inherently wrong or inherently impossible or inherently dysfunctional, like, we can't have a conversation about anything without addressing that. Like, nothing I say about the medical validity of this treatment for children is going to make any difference if you believe that being trans is fucked up and bad. And, like, you only begrudgingly allow that adults should have the bodily autonomy to do what they want. Like, only begrudgingly saying, well, I guess if you want to be a freak and mutilate yourself, whatever. It's like, I wish people were more honest. Because I'm sure that if we started there, we could dig into some interesting, like, well, what morally is wrong with being trans? Like, oh, do you have a religious justification? Okay, cool. Where is it in the Bible? Like, maybe I should try to drive the conversations that way more, since it's an atheist network. And, like, Takis, I think, is kind of unique in that we don't focus on religion in the conversations. So maybe I might try to ask people, you know what? I'm going to float to Arden I don't know. I really think that we should try to get more theist callers. And that maybe we should start jotting down whether someone is a theist or an atheist the same way that we would do with our other shows. Because I don't think we even ask that question when we're on Takis. Like with the call screeners. I'm not sure though. Excuse me. I love your glasses. Thank you. Also, can I have $5? I am going to get paid in the next couple of days. I could give to somebody's GoFundMe, I suppose. Ah, yes. Ancom Jane says, as I say, just say the slur and move on. Yeah, if you want to just use the slur and then move on, okay. Same as a Christian calling in saying, the cosmological argument is why there's God, which I would be fine with if they're a deist, but I can't explain the universe, therefore gay bad doesn't work. People can never just be honest about why they believe what they believe. Fair. It's like hard to justify. I think maybe that's why people, particularly with the trans argument, people try to hit this, oh, it's harming children, or it's scientifically proven to increase suicide rates, or, you know, when they try to take a scientific argument against trans people or against trans kids or against trans medicine or whatever, I think it's because they understand that those arguments carry more weight to non-religious people, or like in general. They don't actually care. Like, to be clear, otherwise more people would change their minds when we say, actually, here's like that study that you're talking about. I know about that study and here's why it's flawed. Here's like 8 other studies that disagree with it. If they actually cared about the science, then they would change their minds, but they don't care about the science. So we know that really there is some underlying, there's a moral issue or a disgust issue or like a religious problem that I wish we could dig deep further into more often. I need to like make a note to say something to Arden about maybe in order to bring Takis more in line with our other programming, like maybe we should try to focus on religion in the context of transphobia a little bit more. Hello, gay fish. I feel like people who talk this way don't want to have a conversation. Well, fair enough, yeah. A lot of these people don't know why they believe what they do when they really think about it, and that frightens them, which results in lashing out. I almost wish we could, let's try to press people into making them lash out and get angry with us instead of us getting angry with them on Takis. Oh, gosh gracious. What bothers me about Takis is how few people actually come with the intention of having a debate. No prep work, no sources, just this is how I feel and this is how the rest of the world must be. Yeah, we had a caller last night who claimed that the science is in favor of purity culture, because that was the title of our stream on Chewed Gum last night. It's technically the show for women on our Atheist Network, but like I am femme and I grew up in that dichotomy, and so like I am fine with contributing to that conversation. And girl, I know every fucking argument still for like, you know, against the way that women are treated in the Bible and purity culture and stuff. So I didn't miss a single beat anyway. But I just want you all to know, like, I don't find it awkward that I was asked to be on Chewed Gum, even though I'm non-binary. It was cool. But yeah, the second guy who called was like, yeah, let me tell you all these science reasons why purity culture is a good thing. And he kept citing studies with only like 20 participants and stuff that didn't have anything to do with the subject matter of abstinence. Like, he was like, oh, there was this one study that showed that like when brains were being scanned, like, so 21 men of college age were having their brains monitored while being shown pornographic images, not like videos, I don't think, but like images. And they were like, oh, the part of the brain that is associated with tools and objects lights up when they're looking at these pictures. So therefore, some obscure connection to say purity culture is good, like because purity culture prevents the objectification of women, like could not fucking draw a connection between the study he was citing and any relevant point to our conversation. It was maddening. And he kept retreating to like, well, this is a Princeton study. Well, you know, I'm citing, do you know this researcher's name? And like, It was fucking annoying, but it was fun. Yes, the conflation of purity and abstinence. I was like, guys, I don't disagree. Like the two callers that we had, I was like, I don't disagree that abstinence is an effective form of pregnancy prevention or is an effective form of STI prevention to a certain degree. Like assuming that there's no sexual assault that happens, you know, because sometimes your choice to be abstinent does not matter to somebody. But I'm like, I don't disagree with you that abstinence can be good and that we should educate people that, like, if you have sex, here are the consequences emotionally and physically, financially, here's the potential consequences. You know, make sure you're comfortable, make sure everybody's consenting. Here's how to blah, 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 blah. Like, be safe. And you can even include, like, as your parent, I personally believe that not having sex is the best for your well-being. But that's just teaching abstinence as one of the options on the table. That's what these people do not like. They keep retreating back to like, well, yeah, but purity culture is still good because being a virgin is a good thing. It's going to prevent you from getting an STI or whatever. I'm like, okay, but purity culture doesn't just mean being abstinent. Purity culture is like shame-based, social ostracizing punishment culture that teaches people that they lose value. It's just so fucking annoying. Like, I was like, I agree with you. Abstinence, good. But purity culture, bad. Are you ready for Rogue One? I'm so ready. OMG. On the podcast I do with Gayfesh, The Many Worlds Hypothesis, on Gayfesh's YouTube channel. The most recent episodes that we've recorded are for season 2 of Star Wars Andor. And since we are finishing Star Wars Andor, we decided to go ahead and watch Rogue One. So this weekend, I'm going to watch Rogue One and take my little notes. And we're going to record the episode for that. And then following that, we are going to do a Halloween-themed series. We haven't nailed down exactly what we're doing now. We're debating between a couple different things. Possibly the Alien franchise. So I'm looking forward to moving into something else because, God, I don't like Rogue One. Okay, so here's what is happening. What happened before is I got done watching season 2 of Andor and I was like still in the mood to watch something. And I was like, you know what I would like to do is let's just go right into Rogue One. They're very different shows, movies. They're very different pieces of art. They're made, I think, by different people. They're shot differently. The pacing is different. And it is a really difficult transition to make if you really like Star Wars Andor. So my feeling about Rogue One when I watched it recently was, I'm about 30 minutes into this movie and I'm going to turn it off now because I was bored out of my mind. But I've given myself some space. I finished season 2 of Andor like a week or two ago, and I'm waiting. I'm giving myself some time, and then I'm going to watch Rogue One, and I'm going to try to judge it separately. Because if I judge it in comparison to Star Wars Andor, boy howdy is it fucking boring and it sucks. Yeah, it's difficult to compare a series versus a single movie, and like the movie came out first, and it came out like 9 years or like 7 or 8 years before Andor season 1 started. So like, yeah, it's so many things are different about it. Like Andor works better if you watch it first. Or sorry, excuse me. Rogue One and Andor together, package deal. It works better if you watch Rogue One first and then you watch Andor. Like, Andor is supposed to be a prequel series, but in terms of the viewing experience, it actually works better if you let it be in chronological time of release. Like, watch Andor after Rogue One. You will probably enjoy each one more doing that. Now the website randomly works for me. Hey, there we go. Yeah, Andor is the prequel of Rogue One. But it works better if you watch it next instead of watching it first. I did not like Rogue One when it came out. I think the last time I saw Rogue One was right before I rewatched Andor Season 1 with a friend. Yeah. I'm going to try it. I'm going to sit there and watch it. I'm going to sit there and be like, I'm going to try to enjoy this movie. And I'm gonna not think about Star Wars Andor at all. Almost like release order is almost always the best way to consume any media. Gayfesh, are you on the train of you'll watch 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9? If you're gonna do a whole, obviously nobody wants to watch 9, but are you on the train of like I'll watch them in chronological order instead of, or excuse me, you'll watch them in release order instead of chronological order? I think that was also what we committed to when we were doing our Marvel watch through. Not us on the podcast, me and my husband. We were like, let's watch them in chronological order of release, not in chronological order of the story. Because then you'd have to do things in all kinds of wonky, Captain America the First Avenger has to go first. And it's like, no. Culturally, Iron Man came first. We're starting with Iron Man. Trying to remember the last time I actually did a whole Star Wars rewatch. Ideologically, nowadays, where would you go with it if you were going to, like, spend an entire weekend? Emma, hello! I know it's Andor, but I cannot unhear and/or like it's a Boolean logic gate. True. Machete order for Star Wars 45236. Horrendous. Why? What is Machete? Is it a reference to like the movie? Is it told in non-chronological? I may have seen Machete one time, but like not more than that. It's the same writer on both. Okay, but it's got different directors, or like maybe it's because Rogue One was under the purview of like the way that Disney tries to flagship certain intellectual properties. Like, why do people? Okay, I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of the Machete Order. I don't know what that means. 45236. I am to look this up. What is the logic behind this? Oh my god, Banana Brain says, I do a completionist run. I watch episode 1, 2, then Clone Wars, then 3, then Rebels, Andor, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6. Kill me. That's crazy. If you're watching in actual chronological order, you gotta make sure you watch all of Clone Wars in between 2 and 3. Yeah, no, I'm good. Why? The Machete Order, a different way to watch Star Wars. Okay, let's read about it. Oh my god. In 2011, blogger and software engineer Rod Hilton created the Machete Order. This order quickly became quite popular among Star Wars fans. The entire purpose of the Machete Order was to find a new way to watch the Star Wars movies that focused on storytelling rather than the chronological or release order. It places a focus on Luke Skywalker as well as Princess Leia and Han Solo. Oh, you mean the fucking 3 main characters? You mean it places a focus on the main characters? Wow. That's crazy. The order for people to watch it goes as follows, starting with A New Hope, The Emperor Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and Return of the Jedi. Explaining why this works. It begins with A New Hope, which is the first Star Wars movie ever made. Makes sense because that kicked everything off. It's essentially the core Star Wars movie and thus is the most important. It clearly establishes the world and characters, blah, blah, blah. Then you go to The Empire Strikes Back, which is the sequel to the original. Putting these two movies next to each other introduces the viewer to the core characters of the series. The core conflict is also introduced with the rebellion facing the Empire. In this viewing order, the Phantom Menace is removed since it doesn't focus on the main character being Luke Skywalker and isn't central to the story. Phantom Menace is considered supplementary material that you could watch afterward. Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith are still important to the story because they provide more background information to the other movies. They also provide a preface to the original trilogy. In the prequels, we learn about Anakin Skywalker and his fall to becoming Darth Vader. It also provides backstory to Obi-Wan, blah, blah, blah. Lastly, the Machete Order finishes off with the Return of the Jedi. The Return of the Jedi is the culmination of all the movies. Viewers now have the necessary backstory to the first 2 movies and see the demise of the Empire and the redemption of Vader. By placing the 2 prequels before, it allows for a more emotional and substantive finale. I kind of get it. I kind of understand how that works. Okay, yeah, Quantum Chaos says, yeah, it's the story flows better with the flashback in the middle, right after Luke finds out who Vader really is. Sure, I can see that from a story structure point of view. That makes sense to me. I kind of like Rogue One as an intro to movie 4, but then I always wanted the prequels to end with, and then Leia took off with the secret plans. Yeah. Oh, the guy who came up with this, the blog was called No Machete Juggling, therefore it is called the Machete Order. Okay, cool. That's interesting. I might try that sometime. It's, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's very weird to be a new adult fan of Star Wars. I have been aware of Star Wars. I have seen all of the Star Warses since I was a child. Could not tell you the first time I saw any of those movies, except for, like, I'm pretty sure my dad took me to the movie theater to see The Phantom Menace. What year would that have been? May 1999. So I would have been 5 years old when that movie came out, and I think that is accurate. I was around that age, so it was either this one or the next movie. But my dad took me to the movie theater to see this, so it's like, it's been part of my life since I was a fucking baby, but I'm only just now in my 30s being like, Star Wars is cool. Like, and I'm sitting here, yeah, I'll waste an entire Saturday watching 5 movies in a weird order. Yeah, sounds great. I would not recommend trying machete juggling. No, I wouldn't. Not without a lot of practice first. Okay, so Star Trek, one of my partners was introduced to Star Trek by me and our other partner, and boy howdy, was that a ride. Where did you guys start? Did you start with TOS? I'm an insane person, so I feel like I need to watch things in order, and I did start with TOS, and it is just not as good as the Next Generation. I mean, they're different, I guess. I like the Next Generation better, probably just because I love Data so much. I'm old. I saw Star Wars in the theater the first week it came out. Like, Star Wars, before it even got the name A New Hope, because it didn't even have that originally, right? That came later. At first, it was just Star Wars. I would not start with TOS. No. The Topher Grace edit? I don't know what you're talking about. Better late than never, I suppose. I would start with TNG or SNW or Prodigy for kids. SNW. Is SNW one of the weird new ones? I don't know any of the more recent Star Wars IPs. If I remember correctly. So, okay, wait. So Topher Grace, the actor, took it upon himself to edit all 3 Star Wars movies into one? Okay, what? Okay, we started with Wrath of Khan and First Contact, and then went to TOS, and even then we skipped some episodes. Then we went chronologically by release order, simply skipping the bad episodes. Totally. Yeah, Wrath of Khan I feel like is a good case. We were talking about this too, that Wrath of Khan is a deviation from the motion picture because and you guys can go watch our episode about this on the podcast if you're interested. We talked about the original series movies. There are 6 of them. And Wrath of Khan, I think, is a pretty strong film, but it is a little bit like the beginning of the end of what a lot of people think of as like core Star Trek, because it's more of an action movie. It's like a lot less thoughtful. It's a lot less philosophical, and it's just like filmed more like an action movie. And there's like big, like the final conflict is a big action set piece, rather than the solution being like solving a problem for someone or using the power of empathy or communication, which because Star Trek has that tendency to it delivers on this hopeful message that cooperation and empathy are the key to solving any problem, right? So Wrath of Khan is a great film. It just, to some people, people who say that the new Star Treks from 2008 onward are like not really Star Trek because it's just a J.J. Abrams action set piece. But this started literally in the 60s or 70s whenever Wrath of Khan came out. Are we saying Wrath of Khan is an action movie? It's definitely like more of an action movie than in the pacing and stuff. And like in the types of conflict, I think. It was just more modern. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I thought that Star Trek the Motion Picture was one of the most boring fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. I think I need to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey to really calibrate the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life, because it was, man, it's just so slow. But so yeah, in that way, Wrath of Khan is just a more modern feeling film. Prodigy wrapped up Voyager. Okay. 1982. Let me check. Wrath of Khan released. It wasn't 82. Why did I think it was so much earlier than that? I haven't seen 2001 since I was like 7. I remember nothing about it. I don't know that I've ever seen it, actually, 2001. But my partner brings it up on a regular basis because I guess he tried to watch it within the last few years, and he was like, yeah, this sucked. The new anniversary edit and restoration of TMP is a lot better. That's what we watched. It was Gaythash was very specific about, like, there's a very specific episode, or sorry, a specific version, the one that has been re-edited and everything, and I'm pretty sure that's the one we watched, the Director's Cut Special Edition, and it was still the slowest movie I've ever seen. Prodigy didn't wrap up Voyager the other way around. Prodigy is just a series that has characters from Voyager in new stories. Okay, I was just reading something from the other chat there. I tried to get into Star Trek several times. I tried watching the original series. I tried watching that one about the space station. That's called Deep Space Nine. And I tried watching Discovery. I always get distracted by something else and never finish the series. I recommend The Next Generation if you want to give it a nice... Well, okay, so actually, legitimately, I think that you should watch the modern movies. I think you should watch Star Trek 2008. Let me double check that that's the correct... 2009? Star Trek 2009? Yeah. You should watch this one first to get a feel for the characters and the universe, because I think that it does evoke many of the same kinds of relationships, even if it doesn't have some of the core things that people think makes Star Trek what it is. So I would recommend, honestly, if you're curious about Star Trek, this is a modern movie. It's paced like a modern movie. It has action pieces, and I think that you would enjoy trying it. And then from there, you might try one of the other, like, series. But, like, Star Trek The Next Generation, I just think is really great television. Porkchop says DS9 is best since TOS and TNG. Sure. There's so much Star Trek I haven't watched. I haven't watched any of Voyager. I haven't watched any of DS9. I did watch Enterprise. I had a coworker at one point who was like, I really want to talk to you about Star Trek Enterprise, so I'm going to loan you my DVDs. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch them. And then I did. And so I've seen Enterprise. So I've seen TOS, TNG, and Enterprise. And that's it as far as the series goes. Hey, we got to 50 likes. By the way, we are doing the treasure chest. If we get any donations today, they will go toward the $100 donation goal. And I don't remember what I put in there. Whatever I put in there last time is what is in there today. So it's going to be kind of, I think I kind of remember what it is, but I don't actually remember what it is. So it's a mystery box today. If we open the treasure chest at $100 of donations, we'll get to find out what's in there. We get to find out together because I don't fucking know what's in there. I like the old Star Trek from the 60s TV series. Yeah, it's not my favorite for sure, but I think it's really good. And you know what? I think if I go back and watch Star Trek the original series now, I will be seeing a lot more of the subtext of the Spurk relationship, because I just kind of wasn't aware that that was a thing the last time I watched it, like a decade ago. So I'm going to go ahead and watch those at some point. Is there a mimic in the box? I don't know. We'll find out. The 1980s Star Trek was too modern in my opinion. Sure. A friend of mine came across a Darmok meme and asked me the reference, and instead of explaining it to her, I made her watch Darmok, which is quite fitting for the plot of that episode. Nice. The salt vampire episode from the original series was really funny to me. Yeah, it was quite silly. But it's true, you need salt to survive. I don't think I've had any salt today either, except in the food that I ate. The last season of Enterprise is really good until the last episode. You know what? I don't really remember very much from Enterprise either. That was like 13 years ago. I think I was like 18 when I watched that. 18, 19, right around there, and that there age range. So I don't really... the only thing I remember is that they have it like Vulcan AIDS, like Vulcan mind meld HIV is something from Enterprise. That's like the main thing that I remember. And also that the fucking Prime Directive didn't exist yet. So they were constantly fucking shit up in a ship that like barely worked. Fun fact, the Nazi episode of TOS was banned in Germany for decades. Oh wow, because of their like not depicting Nazis policy. That's cool. Star Trek TNG has so many good thought-provoking episodes. Sure. I will literally just sit there and watch The Measure of a Man. I'll be like, oh, you know what I really want to do is watch like a 45-minute long movie about my favorite man, Data. Good night, Quantum Chaos. Enjoy. Have a chill time. I'm still pretty eepy, but I feel like I'm not as eepy as I was expecting. I was kind of thinking like, I still don't actually know if we're going to be able to go the full 4 hours, but I don't know. I know you know the woman who wrote that. You know the woman who wrote Measure of a Man, because it's the best episode of television I've ever seen. Data Geordie / fic? Possibly. First 4 seasons of Deep Space Nine are as good or better than TNG. Cool. I know like Scott O'Brien and people like O'Brien. I've watched recently a shit ton of Steve Shives videos, so even though I've never seen these series, I still like know a lot of information about them. So I know that there's lots of good stuff, and the Cardassians and stuff are in that series, and you get to deal with them a lot. And the guy who's like, everybody's like, ooh, he's like a sexy fascist. Oh my god, my glasses are never gonna be clean again. Just resigning myself to always having specks on my glasses, or like accidentally touching my glasses right after I cleaned off the front. Another good old sci-fi series is The Twilight Zone. I watched the movie the Twilight Zone movie back in the day. Don't really remember much about it, though. Yeah, slashfic is intrinsic to Star Trek fandom. The premise. What do you think of the premise? The premise is that Spock, Spock and Kirk, they fuck. That's the premise. What else have we got going on today? It is just ever so slightly too warm in here. DS9 has a 2-part episode that deals with homeless camps getting freakily close to IRL these days. Yeah. I literally watched that episode during the time period it was set in, which was last year. Oh no. I just wanted to bring this, I'll put it up on screen actually. This is the new channel that I have up. So if you just go to, if you do youtube.com/@LuxanderLine, like my channel right here is Luxander Real. Luxander Line will take you to Luxander Line clips. Please consider subscribing here. If you miss it when I used to talk about fucking politics all the time, this is the only place where I'm doing it. Thank you. Hold on, you know what? I'm going to be even more aggressive about it. The link's in the chat. Click through, please subscribe. Thank you. I'm uploading videos like Monday, Wednesday, Friday on this channel for the foreseeable future, so. But yeah, Jesus, I don't want to go on a whole thing because I already did it last, like on Sunday or like last Wednesday or whatever, but I'm just still so pissed off about this whole, like the conversation around homelessness right now. It's really frustrating. And like fucking, hold on, Gavin Newsom, Jesus. Oh man, and tomorrow, I don't know why I agreed to this. So tomorrow, I have the Transatlantic Call-In show, and that usually takes us, it's usually like 3 hours. Like sometimes we might cut it short to only 1 hour, but, or sorry, only 2 hours, but typically it's like a 3-hour show. And actually, the way that we have it designed tomorrow is it has to be 3 hours because we're running it up right into our other show, Calling It Now. So I'm going to be on for 5 hours because Calling It Now is usually a 2-hour show. The other night it went longer. Forrest and Jimmy went on for like 4 hours. So if the getting's good, I'll stay on for longer. So I'm basically like bracing myself to be busy, just like here on screen on, and it feels weird because my streams are 4 hours long anyway. But like I step away for 5 to 7 minutes in the middle of that, and I don't really get a break like that usually on Takis. But I'm gonna plan to be like, before we start on Super Chats, I'm gonna take like at least 5 minutes because I will not have any time between when one show transitions to the next one. Like there's just, I don't think there's gonna be any break there. So I'm gonna take it before the Super Chats. They arrive August 13th, August 30th to 2024. Okay. I love how people who've never experienced homelessness or talked to people who've experienced homelessness act like they're the experts on it. Yeah, I mean, I fucking just hate Gavin Newsom, dude. Like watching that man destroy his constituents' property is like some of the most abjectly cruel shit I've seen from a Democratic politician ever. Like some of the most overtly cruel shit I've ever seen is fucked. It's so fucked. And people are still fucking keyboard smashing over this. And I don't normally do this. I generally don't fucking deal with this on Blue Sky, but I was feeling a little saucy today, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and respond to some people because someone I follow. Oh my god, I don't know how to pronounce this name, and I feel bad. I'm gonna look it up actually before I just say the name wrong. Okay. Okay. So I follow this person, Sinead, on Blue Sky, and she's been talking about, like, basically, like, why do trans people not want to vote for Newsom? Why do we not want Newsom? She posted this, you know, transgender studies, she retweeted it. Professor studies of trans studies, Dr. Susan Stryker tears Gavin Newsom a new one while accepting the Transgender Legacy Award from the California State Legislature. And Sinead went ahead and put together like a little bullet list of like, here's the stuff that Newsom has been saying that we take issue with as trans voters. Like, he blocked and buried protective legislations in California to avoid national political fallout for supporting trans rights. He said the existing equality protections go too far. He claimed to not understand the pronoun controversy. He has embraced right-wing talking points against trans people, suggested that under age 25 trans healthcare should be banned, and has told multiple right-wing podcasts, I don't know what, I can't actually understand what the fuck she's trying to say there, but so this basically has engendered a lot of conversation where people are being just overtly fucking abusive to trans people. Let's see. So, like, here was one that I went ahead and responded to. This guy says, just STFU already. It's people like you the reason Harris lost the election. So Drumpf and his ilk are better for trans people? You're a fucking idiot. And, like, I find this so interesting because, as I said in my comment, we are not talking about the previous election. I am here living in 2025, not 2024. Nobody here has said anything about Harris. We are trying to choose our next candidate. And then I told this person, like, you might want to get with the picture and back someone like Pritzker. Pritzker's my choice. Yeah, it's like us trying to say 3 years in advance, here's a qualified candidate, or here's an unqualified candidate. We want this person. We don't want that person. Versus, like, Kamala Harris, who we did not have an option. We did not choose. Like, there was no primary. Like, we did not have the option at all. They just were like, we've decided it's Kamala Harris. So, and then, like, whether or not people voted for her, whatever, that's not the conversation that we're trying to have right now. We're not having a conversation about the last election. We're trying to have a conversation about the next election, which I understand it's literally immediately after the last election, and it's exhausting that the election cycle in the United States for president is like, it should be like a year long, if that, but it is a 4-year long process now. As soon as a president wins, we are thinking about what are we going to do in 4 years. Isn't Newsom just a Republican in blue clothing? He didn't used to be, which is part of what's so frustrating, is like, he did used to be more progressive. He supported a housing initiative to build more homes in California, but that is like, I think it's been revoked now, or they didn't adequately fund it or something, and now he's out there just throwing people's belongings in the trash instead of building affordable housing for them or building transitional housing for them. It should only be a month or two long. Well, that doesn't give us a lot of time to know the candidates and decide on a primary. I'm like, maybe I'm just saying 1 year is just preferable to 4 years, but maybe 1 year is still too long of an election cycle. I'm willing to cop that. Funny how vote blue no matter who has now become vote Newsom no matter what, and also accept Mamdani. We're not gonna support Mamdani, apparently. As far as I can tell, there's no meaningful difference between a potential Newsom presidency and a Vance presidency as far as trans rights are concerned. Yeah. And sometimes people... Here's another conversation that I ill-advised responded to. So it's a little back and forth. So here's the original tweet, a little back and forth. Valerie says most Dems don't give a crap what less than 1% of the population thinks. The 98% is more concerned with weightier issues that will win at the ballot box. This culture war is destined to ensure Dems lose when going up against the GOP. This is just counterfactual in like every fucking way possible. I don't necessarily need to go into every single one right now, but like Republicans who hammer on this trans stuff, they have been losing because even their constituents are like, I'm tired of it. And the GOP are the ones who are driving this conversation forward. It is not the fault of Dems that we're talking about trans issues all the time. Sinead says, stop calling our existence a fucking culture war. Like, yeah, it's really uncool. Valerie says, I didn't come up with that term, the GOP did. Yeah, but you don't need to use the same language that they're using. And you're using the same language that they are using specifically in order to dismiss us and our legitimate concerns. Like, that is what is occurring here. It's like, okay, sure, right-wingers said, oh, culture war shit, but also they're the ones driving it right now, and you are using that terminology to tell trans people to shut up and get in line. Yeah, that's just repeating right-wing framework, unaltered. So then she continues, quit being so ready to be offended. We have bigger fish to fry than what bathroom you use. Quit muddying the waters and attacking people who are on your side. This is why we lose. Like, you're not on my side, bitch. You think this is you being on my side? Saying we have bigger fish to fry than what bathroom you use? Like, saying, like, I don't fucking care that you are losing access to public spaces and the right to exist in public without, like, fear of being harmed or molested in some way. Just really shitty. This person says, we have bigger fish to fry than whether the state lets you live is how you sound right now. And then Valerie says, oh, you are correct. So she agrees. Your attitude is like, let's plug this hole in the side of the boat while we ignore the fucking tsunami coming over the gunwales. Also, she thinks she's cute using, like, sailor terminology. You're seeing the tree instead of the forest, but you will continue letting my words trigger you. FYI, I've been a lifelong Democrat since 1977. Like, yeah, we can fucking tell, Valerie. And I decided to reframe her analogy because I think it's a dumb fucking analogy. So what I told her is, it's kind of more like y'all are in a large ship and there are other groups in lifeboats nearby, and you're supporting sinking those lifeboats, thinking it's going to prevent the tsunami from capsizing all of us at the same time. And I followed it up, we are very much not in the same boat, and you are making that emphatically clear right now. And I'm willing to go in further detail if I get... She's not going to reply to me, probably, but if she were to reply to me, is like, you can't say we're in the same boat because I've been losing rights for 5 years now. As a trans person specifically, like, also as a female, I have lost rights because Roe v. Wade bullshit, but, like, just talking about trans issues, like, under Biden was when this attack became more aggressive. Where were you, bitch? Where were you, Valerie? When the boat was being rocked and, like, the holes had started 5 years ago. Where the fuck were you? We're not in the same boat. We can tell. You don't give a shit. You want to sink our lifeboat. Like, I don't know what's wrong with people. I do not know what's wrong with people. So I'm just going to keep hammering on Pritzker. That's my new thing. That's what I've decided to do. I'm saying Pritzker for president. He's the governor of Illinois, and yes, he's a fucking billionaire, but that means that he has the capital to drive a campaign. He's got the gumption. He's got just as much ability to put it to Trump as fucking Newsom does. Newsom thinks he's cute with his new social media strategy of just basically being Trump but blue. And people think it's cute and it's memeable, which is also why there are some people in the comments of posts like these who are saying things like, Newsom's the only one who can stand up to Trump. It's like, okay, well, maybe because your social media feed is curated to amplify meme content, and so therefore you're seeing Gavin Newsom everywhere because Gavin Newsom is figuring out how to meme right. But JB Pritzker just told Trump, like, fucking try to come to Chicago. Fucking try. He didn't use that language, but he basically... Oh, and I thought about sending this in the group chat, but you're here, Gayfesh, now that I'm thinking about it. I just wasn't sure if it was something that would be appropriate for the group chat or that either of you would care about. But I just saw, and I don't think I retweeted it, but I just saw a video of JB Pritzker talking about the whole sending the National Guard to Chicago thing. And he was basically like, if you come here to Chicago to try to incite my citizens to violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous. And I was sitting there like, it's Gorman. It's Gorman. He's predicting our own Gorman. Anyway, but it's nice to have somebody straight up call it out. Like, hey, I think that what you're going to do here is send in agitators to try to stoke my people into retaliatory violence as a pretext for a more extreme crackdown. And of course, targeting fucking Chicago because Pritzker is one of his biggest challenges. And also, like, we're still, like, I think that part of the, well, I mean, a lot of people are contextualizing this as like, we need Gavin Newsom in order to beat Trump. And it's like, are you saying that you think that Trump is going to run a third time? Because we're already fucking done at that point. If Trump is going to flout our constitutional limitations by running for a third term, there already is no more democracy at that point. Even if we hold an election, there's no election, babes. So Gavin Newsom is not going to save us from a third Trump presidency. If they run Trump again, we're fucked. That's them saying we have no intention of letting you ever have an election again. Oh, and I know he's already talking about running again. It's not even hinting. He has a wall full of hats. Did I show you guys this already? Oh, maybe. Oh, God. How long ago was it that I retweeted this? The hats. I post enough meme content that I sometimes... Where are the hats? There they are. Have found the hats. Okay, so let me just look at you. Like, okay, this is Trump showing off his wall of hats to Zelensky. And that one says Trump 2028. This one says 4 more years. I can't read a lot of them because I can't fucking see. Gulf of America says that one. But yeah, so he's 4 more years and Trump 2028. So he's... And he even said, like, oh, Zelensky, I noticed that you guys haven't had an election because you're in the middle of a war. Maybe if we start a war, then I won't have to have another election. Like, yeah. Have you seen the recent health photos? I have seen that Trump has a big fucked up bruise on the back of his hand, which is consistent with being regularly administered HIV, or sorry, Jesus Christ, not HIV. Fucking slow death. He's being given some kind of IV medication on a regular basis. And people are speculating that maybe it's that he has heart failure because he has all this swelling in his lower limbs. So maybe they're infusing him with like diuretics and fluids and stuff, or some kind of medicine to combat like what may be kidney failure or what may be heart failure. So if he dies, then that's a different story. Of natural causes. Trump wants a violent response as an excuse to take over democratic cities and prevent the people from voting under martial law conditions. Trump wants to suspend elections nationwide, claiming the country is, quote, at war. Yeah, I do see that being a potential thing. Like, I mean... literally like taking the words out of the mouth of Star Wars Andor, like you need resistance people that you can rely on to lash out. Like they want to pressure us so hard that we do something more clearly overtly violent in order to justify the crackdown. That doesn't mean that it's not justified to do the retaliatory thing, but that it will be used as a pretext for further crackdowns. But, I also think if we don't have a kind of violent backlash, that they will just set it up as though we did, like the fucking Gorman Massacre, where I'm spoiling it for you if you haven't seen Star Wars Andor. Are you ready? Spoiling Star Wars Andor for you. They basically are doing this on a planet that they need to mine something there, and so they're trying to create that kind of distrust and putting increased pressure on them and restricting their movements and putting curfew for no reason. And then they take a peaceful protest and turn it into a police riot because they have a sniper who shoots a cop, and that's the pretext, because the people on the planet are a like steadfast pacifist culture, and so they don't want to be violent, and they are non-violent, but the excuse is still being engendered. I could see a chunk of MAGA still trying to elect his embalmed remains. Yeah, is he just gonna become like a god at that point? And then they're just gonna be like, well, he is the president and we are the shadow government now. And then like he just is like a dead figurehead. He got nervous after the Epstein tape situation. I'm a little bit saddened to see how much the conversation around that has died down. Like, obviously, we can't keep our attention on something for forever, but we should still be exerting pressure on this front. And maybe I'm just simply not seeing it on social media. Necrocracy? Yeah, exactly. Is this like the president in Fallout 3? Have I accidentally recreated a video game plot? I worry that whoever takes over after Trump will simply be even worse. Whoever takes over after Trump, and we can count our stars on this one. We can count our blessing, okay? Whoever comes next will not have the cult following. And Trump's cult will not simply transfer over to the new person. JD Vance, couch fucker, like everybody already doesn't take that dude seriously. He already has baby head. Like, so I don't think that whoever it is who comes next as a Republican is going to have the same cult of personality, the same influence in that regard. The president in Fallout 3 turns out to be an AI pretending to be the human president. I see. Yeah, maybe they're gonna do... Man, this happens in, like, a late season of True Blood. Maybe they're gonna, like... He's gonna die, and they're gonna, like... pretend... Like, maybe they'll say there was an assassination attempt, and so they decided to move him to an undisclosed location, but he's just fucking dead. And then they continue... Like, whoever his intern is continues writing his Truth Social posts from... And they use deepfakes and stuff to show, like, videos of him from, like, a secret underground bunker somewhere. And meanwhile, like, the advisors and stuff just keep doing things and saying that it's him. I adore the world building in Andor. Yeah, we talked about that a lot on the podcast. They really fleshed things out in that regard. F. Clark. Oh, yeah. There was was the shooting this morning? It's Wednesday. Oh, I guess some churches do Wednesday stuff. Huh. So there was a shooting this morning. I know almost nothing about it. I feel like reporting on a shooting the fucking day it happens is typically going to result in a lot of misinformation. So I don't typically cover them right off the bat, but I do know that there is... I think every single time there's a shooting now, every single time there's a shooting now, there is, at some stage, they go, oh, it's a tranny. Like, they keep feeling the need to press this. And, like, of course, sometimes it is going to be a tranny, but it seems like this go-to thing now. And it's really scary. That's stochastic terrorism right there. Just trying to make it seem like, oh, these trans people are so unstable. Makes me uncomfortable as a gun owner. Hello, baby squid. It was a Catholic school and church. Yeah. Mersh says, Anonymous addressed this recently. Epstein's estate is still getting federal tax breaks to the tune of $112 million tax refund. There's also a $170 million Teal investment involved in this situation as well. There's a New York Times article on this situation. I'm sorry, but the New York Times is an active participant in the genocide of trans people, and I don't fucking read them ever. I don't read fuck the New York Times, as a matter of fact. Fuck them. Fucking Der Stormer bullshit. Fuck them. I want to say something more extreme, but I'm going to stop myself before I TOS. Yeah, statistically 1 to 2% of shooters would be trans. Eventually they'll get it right. Well, on that logic, statistically 49% of shooters should be female, but they're not. Oh, my neck has been so stiff. I didn't even earn it this time. Hello, Kitty Tick. Welcome in. There's an old Jewish joke from about 100 years ago about how there was a girl murdered near a Jewish village, and the Jews are all worried they're about to be blamed and pogromed? I don't know how that word's pronounced. I've read it, but I haven't ever said it before. Until a man runs into the town and shouts, "Good news, everyone, the murdered girl was Jewish." Very gallows humor. Yeah, they don't care if a Jewish girl was murdered. They're not gonna blame the Jews for that, but if it was a Gentile, fucking hold your pants. MAGA reads the New York Times, and the Epstein situation is not going away. It's making Trump squirm still, and that's a good thing. Okay, sure. Like, if the argument is that, like, well, the New York Times is at least still hammering on the Epstein thing, like, I'm surprised to hear that, but if they are, then that's a good thing, I guess. Like, that they're still hammering on that. They're getting it from YouTube videos that the shooter had said that he supported LGBTQ plus rights, but he was also really right-wing and wanted to kill Trump. Yeah. It seems like... Wasn't it also like 9 years ago that he said something pro-LGBTQ? And like, it seems like he's been more radicalized since then. IDK, my BFF Jill. You wouldn't wish ill on a fascist billionaire. I was just like looking at my blue sky from like several weeks ago. Or a week and a half ago, I guess. The whole kerfuffle about if you wish ill on J.K. Rowling on Blue Sky, you can catch a ban. I love your passion against the New York Times. Like, nothing brings me closer to other people right now than, like, my passionate defense of trans and queer people. Like, guys, I think every queer person needs to have an uncomfortably intimate education about the AIDS crisis. Like, I genuinely think that... So about like 10 years ago, I went to Chicago to meet up with some of my friends from the... Like I said earlier, I kind of went through my whole story of this, like, back when I was on the atheist community, but the splinter off of it that's more social justice oriented. The annoying woke scold behavior is just beginning, right? That was the time period. I went to Chicago to meet up with some of my friends who were in that, like, SJW atheists kind of vibe. And one of the things that we did was we went to an art exhibit because a couple of the people who were there, like, my associate Greta Christina and her wife Ingrid were there, and Ingrid, at least, was super active in AIDS activism. Like, she was like that lesbian who is taking care of ailing gay men. Like, she was there. She got arrested. She was fucking there. So because of that, we went... Actually, I think Ingrid was in one of some photos from the time period had been, like, blown up and put on the walls. And she was, like, on the wall of this exhibit, which I don't think is around anymore, but it was like a temporary exhibit. And it was one of the most illuminating and horrifying experiences of my life. And it really hammered in the extent to which I am part of a marginalized community, a group of people who are undesirable. I cried so much like just walking around, like it was so intimate and so difficult, but so necessary. And I think that queer people nowadays really need to look at that uncomfortable aspect of our history, because it will help you feel galvanized in protecting your fellow queer people at any cost. Like, to truly understand that nobody is gonna fucking save us, that we have to band together, that we have to protect ourselves. Like, truly, I don't think anything has ever re-centered my focus on life in that way. I actually have an old video from the time, if you're interested. I don't know if it's still up on the channel, actually, now that I think about it. Is it still up on the channel now that I think about it, actually? Is it still up on the channel? I don't know if it's still up on the channel. I'm gonna look. I only just remembered, like, I put up a poll before the stream started. Like, have you heard the word? Yes, it's stream time. No, sadly, I am illiterate. I just fucking goofy shit. I am looking for content about AIDS. Can I search? Is there an option for that? I don't know if I can do that. Can I search? Yeah, it's still public on my channel from 2017. Our History Matters, Art AIDS America Chicago. And it is a more fresh recounting of what I saw there, but I would still be able to very easily tell you today what some of the most impactful things were there, because it is seared into my memory. Yeah, famously, all 23-year-olds are exactly the same people as they were when they were 14. Truly. Ooh, we've got to 59 likes. We're creeping our way up to 69. We have not had any donations today. I think some people had their recurring donations hit earlier this week, and those are always very appreciated. People set up a recurring subscription, but we'll open the treasure chest. It's a mystery today, what's inside the treasure chest. But if we can get to $100, we'll open it. At least one donation today. We gotta at least get one. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Yawn. $69 keeps popping up in my gaming today. Nice. Baby Squid says, in a similar manner, it was the supposedly centrist Times in the UK which played a central role in pushing TERF shit into mainstream discourse. Yeah, the normalization of conversations about trans people without trans people in the media has certainly contributed, and I know that the UK is very, very guilty of the same thing. Like, platforming TERFs and then asking trans people to come on those shows and treating both of those people as though they're in equivalent legitimacy. And, like, the kinds of things that TERFs say to trans people directly to their face, like, I think if we were any other minority group, a moderator or an official would step in and be like, you cannot speak that way to another co-host on this show. That is outside the bounds of what's acceptable, and we will simply end the segment and not invite you back if you speak that way. And that is just not the case with trans people. Like, people can say the most vile hate speech directly to your face as long as they do it in a nice tone of voice. Like, people are just like, yeah, let's normalize this. Like, great. Love that. Kene says, there were images from notebooks of this shooter that were more current, and a lot of the stuff from one page to the next would seem contradictory to most of us. Well, yeah, because it turns out the kinds of people who do these things are, like, unstable. I'm not saying, like, mentally ill, but, like, unstable in that way that, like, radicalized individuals sometimes believe contradictory things, and they can be difficult to understand. And also, they whip themselves up into a frenzy that like you don't think critically when you're in that state of mind. Like you're not in a logical state of mind when you do this kind of shit. I don't think. I don't know, maybe like hatefulness could be considered is that considered like a rational state of mind? Would we say that somebody who's like, I'm going to go kill all these slurs, do we consider that to be like someone in their rational mind? Somebody who's like stockpiling weapons and is like willing to be shot by police or is going to shoot themselves after they commit an act of violence? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to like figure out how we can have a conversation about this without stigmatizing mental illness, but I don't know if it's possible to do that. Is it possible to say someone's not in the right mind or to say someone is unstable without necessarily implying that there's a mental illness component to this? I don't actually know if there's a responsible way to talk about it. Like, I guess we can always just defer to these people are hateful and they do not care about the consequences of their actions, and that might be good enough. But if we're looking at like the inconsistency of their ideologies, like that I feel calls into question some of like how much can we ascertain that this person was operating from a rational point of view. I still wait for that huge paycheck from the almighty trans lobby. Fucking true. Dude, are y'all seeing this news that just dropped today about like these influencers who said that the Democrats are trying to pay them off? Let me see if I can find this, because I haven't retweeted anything about it. I'm just curious if there's anything. Dark money. Yep. Okay. So apparently a dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers, offering influencers up to $1,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. A truly wild story from Taylor Lorenz. So yeah, I feel a little bit left out. I didn't get an email. Okay. I don't think. Did it? Maybe check my spam folder. Maybe the Democratic dark money. Like, so they're offering them money. And they're saying you can't tell anyone. Oh no. Taylor, I haven't paid any money. Oh, this is a Wired. Oh wait, hold on. Is this a Taylor article from the Wired? Where's the... Oh, yeah, okay, so Taylor wrote this for The Wire, and I can't read any more from The Wire this month. But what I've been seeing on Blue Sky has been essentially that it's part of the deal that you can't disclose where you're getting the money from. And there's, like, limitations on your content, which we believe is likely to be in line with this other guidance that we've seen floating around, where the Democrats are apparently on this whole, like, let's not say any of these words anymore, and it's like just a list of a bunch of things that deal with marginalized individuals. Let me see if I'm not finding it. Man, somebody might have to help me with this, because there was like a list of like terms that allegedly was circulating within the Democratic, like, I don't know, the Democratic nominees or like the DNC or something, indicating that, yeah, they should just abandon basically all progressive concepts. Agnieszka says, I'm in politics and I still don't get paid for pushing uwu supremacy. Fuck my life. True. I get annoyed when people conflate being mentally ill with being a shitty person who thinks slaughtering innocent civilians is a good thing. I think people do this because it's really hard to imagine that someone could sit there and like rationally think through their decisions and like still conclude that killing a bunch of people is the right thing to do. You know, like, I think it's hard to imagine that someone could be completely well, but just be so motivated to hatred that they would just do something that most people consider unthinkable. But also, I think it turns out that, like, many people are probably more ideologically inconsistent than we give them credit for. We exist in a corner of the internet where there is a relative amount of homogeneity for our fundamental beliefs. We might disagree about tactics, but for the most part, like, we agree that racism bad and sexism bad and homophobia bad, but there are plenty of people who are like, oh yeah, of course, obviously racism bad, but those fucking Jews, you know, like, so it feels inconsistent, but that's just like how America is. It just sometimes feels a little bit contradictory. Yeah, only liberals being included in this offer. Like, I think that the Democrats are secretly funding whatever, like, I think this is already they're selecting only like already influential people. So obviously, like, I'm off the radar completely because I'm too small of a creator. I'm not influential enough. But even if I were more influential, they probably would be like, ah, well, we don't think that you're gonna stop talking about the trannies, so we don't want to give you money. Like, how far? This is one of those moments where you ask yourself, how far am I willing to bend my values for a paycheck? Like, if someone offered me $8,000 a month to say Gavin Newsom is the best, would I be able to do that? I don't think so, but I don't know. What's weird is that part of me is like, I kind of wish that I could do that. Like, I wish that I was able to just swallow my pride and fucking do it, because $8,000 is a lot more money than I make now, but I just don't think I'm a very good liar. I don't think I would be able to maintain it for very long. This is not just an issue in America. The same over here. People say we need to protect the gays, but those transes and Muslims and Slavs. Yeah, totally. Although we are also seeing a rollback on the gays thing. Like, sometimes people are. I mean, we're experiencing challenges to gay marriage presently because fucking Kim Davis, whose name I never thought I would hear again, is like, pretty please, Supreme Court, will you please make gay marriage illegal? Fuck. Grifting is literally one of the biggest reasons we are in the situation we are in. Yeah. Listen, if they were like, if they paid me $8,000 a month to say Pritzker is the best and he has the biggest dick in the whole wide world, I think I would take $8,000, but that's because I already want Pritzker to be president. Like, I think that I just think he's our best shot at this time, and we don't even know who all is going to be in the running. It's too early to know who our final players are going to be as far as picking a Democratic candidate, but I really fucking hope that Pritzker picks it up. Like, please. Please, my man, you can afford to run for president. Please do it. Lying is an art form. Not everyone is good at it. Yeah, I don't enjoy. I would like to be, I think I could be a good actor, which is different because that's like embodying an emotional truth, which I'm very able to do that. Yes, exactly. I would happily accept money to say things that I already believe. Kene says, Clarence Thomas wants to repeal interracial marriage. Man, he must be afraid of divorcing that woman. Yeah, wasn't his wife like heavily involved in the January 6th shit? It's like, maybe he is scared of her. I don't know. She's white, he's black. Does she actually have all the power in that dynamic? I don't know. As a Canadian, I've never heard of Pritzker. Ah, sure. So J.B. Pritzker is the governor of the state of Illinois, Illinois. And he is great. He spoke at the HRC fundraiser last month, supporting trans youth and saying, like, I want you to know that I'm not abandoning you. So he's overtly pro-trans. He is, he's out here saying, oh yeah, Trump is a little man who needs to feel big, and that's why he's trying to come to Chicago to fuck with us. So Pritzker seems like, and he's a billionaire, which, like, I don't love that he's a billionaire, but that means that he has the finances and, like, the connections and the power to run for and to hold the office of the presidency. Like, so even among fucked up right-wing thinking, like, Pritzker is a successful man who they could potentially, I don't know that right-wingers would support, but like centrists surely could support. So I think he's our best bet. That's me. Penny says, Ginny Thomas was indeed involved on Jan 6 and has been a DC power broker for a long time. He in no way has all the power in that relationship. Yeah, he might be her bitch. Pritzker is a class traitor in the making. I think he kind of already is. Like, it feels like being in the billionaire class is, like, completely incompatible with being trans. Dude, wouldn't it be crazy if there was a trans billionaire? There isn't, I don't think, but wouldn't it be crazy? US has too much money in politics. Yeah, well, that's old news. You right, you right. Mersh says, I was a queer teenager in the 80s during the AIDS epidemic. I always wondered how the individuals who were literally violent bigots who wished us unalived a few years before had changed and become accepting of us in the 2000s through 2018, etc. MAGA proves that the Gen Z bigots and boomer bigots had not changed one bit. They just kept their mouth— oh, you mean Gen X, probably. Gen X bigots and boomer bigots had not changed one bit. They just kept their mouths shut while they thought the tides had turned. As soon as Trump and MAGA gave them permission, they are back to what they always were now. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. Like, maybe that makes me weird. Like, I've said it before recently. I'll say it again. I don't really care about, like, changing people's minds about trans people necessarily. I mean, to the extent that, like, I need you to stop voting against our best interests, like, at the very minimum, like, I will argue, like,
Ghost
for—
has donated $50.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciation from a lurker. I love tuning in while I draw.
Thank you. The text-to-speech, I am not used to that. Nick Ghost with a $50 donation. That's very generous. Appreciation from a lurker. I love tuning in while I draw. That's great. I think that that's kind of what streams are good for, is, like, having some companionable, friendly noise in the background. So thank you very much. That's super generous. And that shoots us up immediately to our halfway goal to opening the treasure chest. I put something in there on Sunday, and I think I remember what it is, but I don't actually know if I remember what it is, so it'll be a mystery. We get to find out together. Next time, I'll probably have my partner put something in the box, and then I won't know what it is, and we'll find out together. The trans billionaires are the secret force behind the medical industry. I know. My innocence. What was I about to say? I don't mind living in a society where people have learned to just shut the fuck up. Like, I don't need you to truly believe on some intrinsic level that a trans woman is a woman. I just need you to be respectful to her and keep your fucking opinions to yourself. But again, that's the difference between me and these people. I'm okay with living in a society where people don't agree with me or they don't like me. And these people demand a society that is homogenous and like them. Hi, pretty baby. Hi. Do you want to come say hello to everybody? You gonna be my baby? Yeah? I'm gonna pick you up. You can't stop me. Ah. Baby. Black on black on black today. Hi, Mr. Baby. This is Mitternacht, if you haven't seen him before. We have 66 likes. Can we get to 69 likes for Mitternacht? 69 and beyond. Are you a good boy, Mr. Baby? You gonna smudge up my glasses? Mm-hmm. He's such a good boy. going on over there? You know, sometimes you gotta let him investigate things. You good? Yeah? Okay, will you give me another kiss and then I'll put you down? Kiss me? Oh, kissing the microphone. There we go. Will you kiss me and then I'll put you down? Are you a good boy? Hey. Would you kiss me? No? No. That's the microphone. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. He's a good boy. Okay, now I'll put you down. Do you want to go down? Okay. He's good. Cat thinks it's an edible plant. Okay, so no, that's actually totally not the case. My cat will try to eat plastic sometimes. Only certain plastics. He licks plastic a lot. But with these leaves, like these plastic leaves for this, he will just eat. He will just chomp on it and start putting holes in them and trying to eat it. Like, nothing about that could possibly seem like a real plant. We got it all wrong with black cats being evil hellspawn. It's the orange ones. Orange cats and their one brain cell. Yeah, he's a weird guy. These boomers and Gen Xers were afraid that their bigotry was dying out with them, and that's what all the war against woke is about. They want to keep the hate going for future generations as well. Yeah. My cats love plastic too for some reason. I think that it's because there's some chemical in plastics that is it smells quite similar to something that is in their dry food. In the same way that like phytoestrogens look like estrogen in a chemical composition sense, but they don't bind to estrogen receptors. Like, it's kind of similar to that, where like it smells like food, but it is not food. Maybe your cat is looking for real grass to throw up. I don't think so. Maybe I should buy him a little thing of cat grass and see if he's interested in chomping it up. I guess I'm encouraging him to throw up all over my carpet. I don't know. Good night, Agnieszka. Thank you for helping me pronounce your name correctly. Hope you have a good night. Yes, it's late in the Europe. But if you're interested, come back on Sunday. We stream at 11 my time, so 11 Pacific time, which I think is like 7 or 8 hours ahead of you. Oh shit, hold on. It's 4 o'clock, so you're 9 hours ahead. All right, well, we start at 8 p.m. your time on Sundays. I've still got my lovely Lego X-Wing I got as a kid, but all of its lasers were chewed up by our old cat, who has now been dead for 16 years. What are you doing? Yeah? Hey. Now he's licking plastic again. I've enticed him. And now there's a plastic bag over there. I need to put it in the closet. It's just got some shit that needs to go in storage. I'm coming to... Oh, we got to 69 likes. Oh, thank you. I'm coming to the realization that I'm probably going to be living in this place for longer than we originally thought. When we moved across the country, which was a monumental... Oh, I move apartments on Sunday. Okay, no worries, Agnieszka. But just for your reference, every Sunday we stream at that time. So any Sunday in the future, it's partially because I know that there's plenty of people in Europe who want to catch my shows. So I try to do it earlier in the day for me. But yeah, so Sundays in general, if it's better timing for you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I recently like crunched some of the math on like what would it take for my partner and I to save up enough money for a down payment on a house, and what timeline would that be on? So I'm like, ooh, I think actually I'm gonna have to live in this place so long as it remains good, and I like living here. This is a good place. Like our landlord's generally pretty hands off. It's clean. It seems like a safe neighborhood. There's children who live here. Like, it's a good neighborhood. So I wouldn't mind, but it does, I'm like locking in. It seems like we're probably going to end up living here for like 5 or 6 years. And so I'm really trying to make the place nice. And I'm like, I'm trying to make everything pretty and I'm organizing stuff. And my partner is, I'm glad that I didn't have to be like, hey, can you fucking figure this out? Like, he is maybe picking up on some of that energy, or maybe he's like feeling like now that he's comfortable with his new job, he can start to refocus some of his energy elsewhere. But he's been like, I'm going to clean up the living room. And I'm like, thank fucking Christ. He has so many tools and so much stuff. And it's a huge benefit to me because I can just be like, hey, babe, like, I need to borrow this tool. Or like, hey, babe, can you do this for me? Can you make me this thing? Or whatever. So it's extremely convenient. But it does mean that we have too much stuff. We really need to have like a full garage, but it wasn't really in the cards for us to afford a place with a garage right now. Houses here are so ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be a pop in the bubble in the next few years, but thank you, Binary Second. I can't stay because it's midnight, but your outfit is absolutely killer. I appreciate you. I also, you've just reminded me that I've been posting pictures on Fansly again. I do not post nudes. I just post like outfit pictures and selfies. And I posted some today with this outfit. So if you want to see like more different angles of me being a cutie in this outfit, $5 on fansly.com/Luxander. And yeah, y'all European fans, I stream super early in the day on Sundays, so you should be able to catch me on Sunday evenings in the Europa. That's how you say it in Espanol. Europa. One of my childhood cats would beg me to let him out, and when I did, I would watch him closely, but he'd just stand there and purr while eating grass. He just wants you to, like, be the sentry. He just wants you to be the lookout. I'm definitely a fan of the mesh. Yes. Oh, I was, my little caption that I posted with my Fansly pictures today, was like, I had to wear a bra because otherwise my nipple piercings will get caught in the mesh. Which is true. I'm wearing a bra because I was like, I did put this on and was like, how is this gonna work? And then I was like, I'm gonna hurt myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and wear a bra. My poor nipple piercings. It has not yet been a year. They are not done healing. I don't even know if they ever fully heal, like, nipple piercings. I'm not sure that they ever totally heal because people say, like, be careful of taking them out. Because if you don't put something back in there, it'll close up really soon. So that to me indicates that they kind of don't ever fully heal. They only need to be healed enough that I can get some mouth action without getting an immediate infection. Electrical tape is another workaround. Yeah, totally. I just didn't want to... it's uncomfortable to tape your nipples down. It kind of doesn't feel good. And then if you're taping your nipples down when you have piercings also, you're like pressing... Because I'm still wearing the bar that I was pierced with. So it is like... Or not that I was pierced with, but I was fitted with it after I got pierced. So it has the little balls on the side and it's a little straight post. So when you wear a tight-fitting anything, it's like smushing the balls of the piercing into your areolas, and I don't like that. It's uncomfortable. I don't expect to ever own a house unless there's some unexpected leftist revolution. Yeah, I feel really fortunate, especially as a disabled person, that I have an able-bodied partner who has, like, a trade background. Put a cotton ball under the tape over the nipple. That's a good trick. Also, the glory of a super hairy chest. Yikes. Ouch! Ow, 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 ow! Those round silicone nipple covers. Yeah, I'm sure I could get something like that, but I don't have it on a short-term basis, and I don't wear this shirt that often. So I just wore a bra, and then I was like, look, that was totally sufficient. That works. The bra, it works. I leave for half an hour and literally the first sentence I hear is, it's pushing the balls into your areolas. The fuck did I just walk back into? I'm talking about my nipple piercings. Sorry, I know that's TMI for some people. I own a house, but it owns my wallet. I need to do so much work on it. Yeah. That is, I guess one of the nice things too about like my partner and I both having like different trade backgrounds. Like if we needed some plumbing done, I might hire a plumber. But most electrical work that we could need done, I could just do a lot of electrical work. Especially if it's just replacing devices. My fucking partner could do that, and he's not trained to do it. And my partner is a flooring installer, but he's also done like other kinds of carpentry. So, yeah, I'm hoping if we ever do get a house that we'll be able to do a lot of the work on it ourselves. Yeah, balls and nipple piercings, I don't see the problem. Well, it's okay. So you know how bed sores? Are you familiar with bed sores? That's kind of the situation I'm trying to avoid with having like the ball of my piercings pressing into my skin all the time. A lot of the time we're free balling the chesticles for that reason. I need to start looking into jewelry that I could replace this with, probably. I'm glad my spouse is handy because I am not. Yeah. We have to have complementary skills. Complementary skills. I wish you guys are still around here. I could use a carpenter. Well, my partner hasn't done a lot of carpentry. It's just like you work with wood and you do some trim work stuff and little things when you're a flooring installer. My cat is just screaming in the other room right now. Baby! What are you doing? He's like down the hallway, just like shrieking. I'm a carpenter femme. Ooh woo, Xena. Do you follow Mystery Stardust? The trans handy ma'am. She's cool. We're doing all right, Xena. We're doing pretty good. It's been a pretty chill day so far. I just realized that it's been 2 hours and I haven't taken my little midstream break. I'm sorry if you just came in and I'm about to I'm just going to be gone for like 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to get water because I haven't had water this whole stream. I'm going to rest my voice. How often do you do that kissy noise and your partner responds? Never. I only started doing that because my cat can't hear very well and he can hear that noise every time I make it. So it's not for him. Yeah, Mercury Stardust, the trans handy ma'am. So, okay, let me just put on some music for you guys. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to rest my voice, and I'm not even sure how much longer this stream is going to be because I am still a sleepy boy. But, oh God, where's the music folder? Oh my God, stop screaming. I'm just yelling at nothing. Y'all probably can't hear him at all. Okay. Music. I'm just picking randomly. Alright, back soon. Okay, I'm back. See, only a little 5 minutes, a little 5 or 6 minutes. Just needed to rest my voice, you know? Just needed to chill for a minute. Things are going okay. Oh, shoot, actually, shit. I forgot to do something that was important right before. So hold on. Actually, we'll just be 1 more minute. Ah, I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry. I had to get something out of the way of the door. My partner is going to be home anytime now. Sorry. Okay, everything's fine. ADHD is a bitch. Sometimes it hits you out of nowhere. I'm glad I remembered, though. It's like, he would have been like, why the fuck can't I get in the house? Is anybody else having trouble moving today? I'm really sore, but I've been like working out my muscles again this week in a way that I haven't for a while, so that's part of it. We did just have like some rain come through the valley, so I know that like atmospheric pressures and stuff can change things. Manwich, indeed. Bon-T1, hello. I don't think I've seen you in chat before. Welcome in, completely normal people. Have you tried doing some stretches? Yeah. Whenever people are like, my back hurts, I'm like, here's a thing you didn't know maybe, and that's that, well, you're older, so maybe you know this information just because by virtue of like you have had more time to absorb information, but I only recently learned that if your back hurts, you may need to stretch your hips. And also, like, part of my fixing my posture thing has me realizing that, like, I've only been stretching my hips one direction, which is helpful, but not the end of the story. Like, a lot of hip stretches are like, do child's pose, which is, you know, you like fold your body in thirds. And you get like you basically you're bending your knee up, or like, you know, exercises or stretches that are like pull your knee up to your chest, or do the happy baby, which is when you do both of your feet like this and they're both like out. And that is only one direction for your hips to stretch. You also have to stretch the front of your hips, which you can do by doing like a back bend or something, but you could also just do like, I don't know what to call it. It's not a lunge. It's like, okay, it's like if you take a knee like you're gonna propose, right? So you've got one foot on the ground, that knee is at a right angle, your other knee is on the ground at a right angle, and your foot's behind you, right? So that kind of, so you get into that posture, but then you rotate your hips, like you make the bottom part of your hips, it's like a hip thrust, like you're thrusting, but hold that position. And so the top part of your hips are going to be further back, and the front part of your hips are going to be more forward. And if you're in that like proposing position, oh my fucking God, you will know if the front of your hips are tight. God, it fucking feels weird. I mean, like, it's not that weird. It's just like, oh God, it's intense. And it's a whole area of my body that I didn't even know could stretch like that, because every other time I've done that same stretch, my hips are just in the wrong. Like, my hips are like leaning forward, basically. So I'm trying to get them to lean back a little bit, which actually will just make them straight. So here's me being in my 30s, learning how to have a body. Is this an autism thing? Like, how did I not understand how all these systems were connected? I am very normal and cis and straight and neurotypical. Please believe me. Totally. I don't know, I might take it off of there. I always forget until someone says something, but I do have it on my YouTube chat where if you try to comment for the first time, it pops up a thing that says, hey, welcome to our community. What's up? Here's the 2 rules. Or I think it says like, be normal and then questions welcome. Those are the 2 things it says. Oh, it's not even an autism thing. It's just me. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. Very fatigued, I can relate. Yeah, I stayed up late getting railed, and now I'm sleepy. Body maintenance is as important as car maintenance, more important maybe even. Yeah, I agree that it's like any maintenance, you have to schedule the maintenance or the system will schedule it for you. The most exercise I'll ever do recently other than walking places is planks because I'm really lazy. Listen, planks are great. It's important to have core stability. You can also like do a couple of very easy variations on a plank. Like you can either put your elbows on the ground or put your hands on the ground, or you can do like side planks. Like you can like this one thing you can do several variations on to get a more full range of benefit. Like literally any movement that you can do is good movement. I was talking to my friend Dizzy. Dizzy is mostly unable to walk, I think, or like often unable to walk, and so they have a chair. And we were talking about like the difficulty in finding ways to exercise and like being limited by all kinds of things, including funds. And I was like, "Ooh, do you have one of those like pedals? Like I have a pedal that you just it's not attached to anything. It's just some pedals, and you can change the how much resistance there is with a little twist knob." And Daisy was like, "Oh yeah, I do have one of those. I guess I could like fix it to the wall and then like use it for my hands." And I was like, "Bet," like because their knees hurt too much for them to use it for their feet. Dizzy is ambulatory. Yeah. They often have pain walking, so that's why they have a chair. But they can still do things. It's just that like a pain relief thing to use their chair, and they have difficulty getting around sometimes. But yes, it's difficult to find exercise sometimes, but like any amount of movement, even if it's just like some resistance pedals that you're doing with your hands, is better than nothing, for sure. Naomi says, I know a bunch of Army PT exercises that I learned from some ROTC like thing in high school. So when I don't want to run or something, I'll just do those. Totally. Yeah. My partner has like a Taekwondo warm up. It's Taekwondo warm up, but it is just an exercise series on its own. Like each thing, I'm like, y'all warmed up? This was a 30-minute warm up. It's a 30-minute thing. And it includes stuff like duck walk, which is like, I hope that's you like crouch and you walk around in the crouched position, or bunny hops. Same thing, like being crouched down and doing bunny hops, and like leg raises out to the left a huge number of times, and then leg raises out to the right a huge number of times. It's fully just an exercise routine, but it was his Taekwondo warm up when he was younger. And it just, yeah, like even just like, oh, let me rotate my arms around a little bit. Like if you do that enough, it's cardio, but it's also like increasing your shoulder strength and your mobility in your shoulders. So it's not a bad thing. Yeah, I used to do martial arts warm-ups when I was in my teens a long time ago. Truly. Maybe I should have him show me it. A couple times he's been like, I want to show you my whole Taekwondo routine. It's like maybe one of these days I should just be like, I'm gonna technically exercise today and it's gonna be this. So prepare to teach me. Oh man. I hope he gets a 3-day weekend. I don't actually know if his job is gonna be working on Monday. But I hope we have a 3-day weekend. We deserve it. I say we deserve it. I'm still planning to stream on Sunday. I guess, I don't know, shit, maybe I should give myself a little mini vacation. Because sometimes I'll, like, not stream on Wednesday, but I'm still stressing about other things and, like, work and stuff, so I don't know, maybe I should just take the fucking long weekend. Bona says French vanilla whey is good with oat milk or fruit juice. I do feel like I have a difficult time finding a place for my vanilla protein powder. I have chocolate protein powder, and I think that chocolate is easier to mask the flavor of whey protein with, because I'm always like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Is the Mulan script finished yet? No, it is not. I'm kind of like allowing myself to take a mental break from it because I was struggling and every single day feeling this pressure to do it, and I have had such a hard time with it. So I'm just gonna let it go for a minute, and I'm gonna watch They/Them tomorrow. And oh my god, I can't believe I've already let that much time slip by me this week because I meant to do it earlier in the week. I was gonna do it today, and then I just did not have time because I did a whole bunch of other stuff this morning. But I'm gonna watch They/Them, and the intention was to try to get a video out this week. Fuck, I am so much busier than I realize. Do it. Abdicate responsibility. Yeah, I guess so. Just take the Labor Day weekend to myself. Oh, I guess it's not like an absolutely nothing going on weekend anyway, because on Monday we are recording another episode of the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe I should just treat it like any other week and be grateful that my partner gets an extra day off. No, you're fine, Naomi. It's so we were talking about this last night, and I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are actually with regards to like how to get things done. My partner was advocating for this position that you should not tell people about your long-term projects because like scientifically something happens in the brain where when you tell people like, oh, I'm working on this Mulan script, that releases chemicals that are similar to when you finish the project. So he was basically saying like, according to science, you shouldn't tell anyone about your long-term projects, but if you have something you're trying to accomplish like today or like this weekend, telling someone about it conversely creates like tension that causes you to be more likely to remember and do it. I don't know how much that is substantiated, but so I have fucked myself by talking about the Mulan script in public. I think it's one thing for me to like release teasers on Patreon with no prompting. If I'm just like, hey, here's a teaser from a project that I'm in the middle of working on. I don't even know if I am capable of doing that without losing the motivation to work on a project. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just like struggling, and I've decided to focus on some short-term projects and just start producing content regularly. And long-term projects just get to come out when they fucking are ready. I don't know. That's kind of why Labor Day exists. Would it help to set a public due date? I don't know. I don't know if that kind of thing works on me. I guess I could try it, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just need to take pressure off, and then like once I stop feeling bad about the fact that it's not done, I can like set myself time to work on it, which may mean that other long-term projects get worked on first. But yeah, Kene says that's kind of why Labor Day exists. Am I like betraying my ideals as a leftist by choosing not to take the Labor Day weekend off? I mean, like, usually what happens is Labor Day weekend is the first weekend of Renaissance Festival. So there's usually no question of how I'm spending that time. I'm going to be out there with my friends, and I do work a little bit, but I usually just cover people's breaks. So I like, oh, this person needs a lunch break, and then later in the afternoon, they need a bathroom break. Cool. And I get paid a very small amount of money because I don't work very much, but the rest of my day is like, I'm goofing off with my partner and my friends. So typically Labor Day weekend, I guess I'm following in the spirit and doing things for joy and not for work. Yeah, am I a bad leftist for not taking Labor Day weekend off? My problem has been establishing a schedule for and routine for getting videos done. Yeah, I don't know if that's even possible for me. Labor Day itself was chosen to distance from May Day anyway. Wait, what? Like, May Day is some labor holiday, right? Ultimately, it's all about free will, so it's up to you what to do with Labor Day. Yeah. I don't know. I've been basically... Oh, here's another problem. I was saying after I finish the Mulan video, I think I'm going to give myself like a full week off. So I'm going to miss at least 2 streams and like not think about work at all, if possible. But I've been holding that hostage behind finishing the video. And I'm wondering if maybe, like, when we get the September schedule, if I need to just plan to take a week off whenever it's possible. Because, like, you know, assuming that I get 1 week where I am not scheduled for any shows on the line. Labor Day in the rest of the world is May Day, but in the United States, they picked the weekend before school starts. Which is so interesting because... So, I was kind of interested in the fact that in Oregon, they don't start school until like either the last week of August or the first week of September, the public schools. Whereas when I was in Kansas, we always were starting school like the 3rd week of August, like consistently, and maybe even sometimes like during the Thursday or Friday of the middle week of August, or like the 2nd full week of August. So it's actually kind of weird to me that schools would start after Labor Day, because in Kansas they always start more like mid-August. May Day is Union Day. Does it have anything to do with the Soviet Union? I have no idea. Of course, for me, May Day is also Beltane. My little pagan holidays bullshit that I do. I think... Ooh, yeah. I think this weekend I'm gonna redecorate. I'm gonna start moving things away from Lunasa and more into Mabon, because we're getting very close to the equinox, and I'm excited! School started this week in Kansas. Really? Oh, yeah. That's weird. Yeah, I would have expected it to be like the 18th. That feels like it would have been more... But I fucking graduated in, like, 2012, so... Starting school in August? No wonder the Midwest is so mental. Yeah, but how long do you guys go? When are finals? When do you close out the school year? Because we would always close out, you know, like, maybe the 3rd week of May. This cup is not very convenient to drink out of because it's so enormous. And I'm trying to hold the spoon at the same time. Excuse me. Naomi, quoting the Britannica on May Day, says, in 1889, an international federation of socialist groups and trade unions designated May 1st as a day in support of workers in commemoration of the Haymarket riot in Chicago of 1886. United States President Grover Cleveland, uneasy with the socialist origins of the Workers' Day, signed legislation to make Labor Day the official Workers' Day. Ah, I see. They were trying to take some of the political power out of, like, the fact that workers had designated May to be May Day. Ooh, okay. Well, fucking joke's on you. We're just gonna do workers' rights twice a year, bitch. Man, now I'm gonna triple double down. Like, May Day is not only Beltane, which is my favorite pagan holiday, but it's also a workers' holiday, and then I'm fucking doing Labor Day too. I'll ask my partner. If he has Monday off, then I'm gonna go ahead and take Sunday off. And then I'll do the podcast on Monday, which only takes like an hour. But otherwise, I'm just gonna chill, baby, chill. Excuse me. It's amazing how far back anti-socialism goes. Yeah, well, I'm assuming that it probably goes back as far as socialism does. I mean, you remember Jesus Christ? You remember Jesus of Nazareth? His ideas weren't exactly popular. Oh my goodness gracious. Obviously, I know that the construct of socialism didn't exist back then. I'm just saying that the man generally preached a message of like equality and tolerance and helping people and shit, you know? And class solidarity and shit. I knew it was that day in Grover, Cleveland. True. Sometimes I watch documentaries about leftists in America around after the Civil War and into the 1900s that have been uploaded to YouTube. It's interesting and also crazy how they would just execute some of the activists for treason. Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what you say. They're gonna be like, that's treason, and I'm like, okay, great. That's why HUAC is so dangerous, and like any politician in the current day who talks about bringing back HUAC, you should be like, oh, fuck. That's a bad thing. That's a big bad deal. And that has happened. I've covered it on my channel before. There's some dude running for office somewhere in the Southwest. I can't remember what state or jurisdiction or anything, but he was like, we need to bring HUAC. And he's talking about, like, I think trans people or education about trans people or something along those lines. He was like, these people are traitors to the United States of America, like the values that we hold dear. And it's like, okay, that's a problem. Jesus throwing the capitalists out of the temple is one of my favorite Bible stories. Yeah, he was like, fuck you bitches, and like flipped tables and shit, right? That was like hardcore Jesus moment. Jesus was probably a cool dude if he was real. There's like, there is not a consensus among religious scholars, theologian scholars. I think that there is some disagreement amongst them about whether Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the human person, actually existed at any given point. I don't know. So that's part of why I'm just like, I don't really need to care about whether it's true or not. Like, people who have dedicated their lives to answering these questions are like, I don't know, or like, I disagree, like, I think this and I think this and we disagree. So for that reason, I'm just like, okay, cool. I'll give you guys another couple hundred years to figure your shit out or find new evidence that is groundbreaking and conclusive one way or another. And I will just simply not care about whether Jesus Christ the dude actually existed. Jesus Christ the character said some cool stuff. Literally the only time Jesus got violent was over capitalism. We appreciate it. We stan a queen. I think there probably was someone, but there were a lot of messiahs around then. Yeah, there were a bunch of different people, you know, stating religious truths or whatever. Like, you know, he was not the only guy. John says, for the record, in the United States, treason is defined specifically as arming an army to overthrow the United States or aiding and abiding an armed army declaring war. Cool. Yeah. They also do things, though, like treason is obviously very specific, but they will also invent other crimes. Like, I was just reading. Oh, no, it was Lindsay Ellis's video. I was watching. Fucking shout out to Lindsay Ellis. Good to see another video from her. I really genuinely have missed her, and I appreciate having her back. I probably should have just had Nebula this whole time, but I didn't. But her video was discussing how Palestinian sympathizers are now being called terrorists, right? Like, and what the fuck was I about to say? Oh no. Ah! Oh, yeah, treason. So they invent these other crimes, like you're providing material assistance to a terrorist group or something. Like, so they create these sort of tangential, you're related to terrorism vibes. Yeah, that video was amazing. Agreed. It was so fucking good. I was mostly listening to it. I do want to sit down and properly watch it at some point because there were like a lot of visual gags and stuff. Occasionally, I actually would stop what I was doing and like pull up the video on my phone to look at what she had said or what she was doing. So good. But yeah. So you don't even have to be like charged with treason. Like obviously they're only going to try to get you on that if they feel like they can justify that in some way. And it's easier to just say like, well, you're providing material assistance to a terror group because again, they conflate any support for the Palestinian people and like literally we can even say we are simply against the killing of Palestinian children. Like surely we should all be able to agree that killing children is bad, right? Like they're not soldiers. Even if you could argue that a 14-year-old is working with Hamas, like we should still be ideologically opposed to killing 14-year-olds. We should try to give them a shot at a better life, right? Of course. Yeah, but that's not what happens here. You say, I'm against the starvation and killing of Gazan babies. And they say, you are supporting Hamas. And you are a terrorist sympathizer and you are providing material support. And that's how political dissidents or like, oh my God, I am not able to think of the word that I'm trying to say. I don't know, like any sympathizing with a people who are being genocided right now is considered terrorist activity. Is like, yeah, this is part of, I think part of the message of Star Wars Andor was that no matter how much you just want to live a normal life, you can't under fascism. Like, they're going to intrude on your space. They're going to expand the definition of crime. And suddenly whatever you were doing before that wasn't a crime is now suddenly a crime. And they're going to put you in a prison and make you do slave labor. So, yeah, I think that is something that is important to note, that protesting is supposed to be legal, a protected freedom in the Constitution, like the Bill of Rights. The fucking first rule on the Bill of Rights is people are allowed to gather and speak. So when speech is being limited in this way, like that, basically you're like now committing a crime when you weren't before because of what you chose to say. So you do not have freedom of speech anymore. Like the erosion of all rights. And like this is the one that Americans consider to be like our highest professed value, the freedom of speech. Democrats and Republicans both will say that that is one of their most important, and like most Republican individuals, I think mostly do believe that. Republican politicians, I don't think necessarily care about the idea of free speech. They just weaponize it to say whatever they want, even if it's directly harmful. But I do think even like most Republican individuals, it's a bipartisan thing that, oh my God, my brain is trying to flush every thought that I'm having right now. It's crazy. Drink more water. Oh my gosh, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's like your ability to just say something is wrong is now taken away from you, and this value that we are all supposedly sharing is being eroded. So like, what rights do we have as Americans if we don't have the right to free speech? If we don't have the right to be an asshole, or if we don't have the right to say fuck this guy, or we don't have the right to say these people don't deserve what they're being given. Free speech for me, but not for thee, truly. I saw a video of a veteran burning a flag in DC and getting arrested. That happened just a couple days ago. Yeah, didn't Trump just sign an executive order that was and release a statement regarding making flag burning illegal? Was that real? Did I see that? Was that real? Well, other people have been Googling this apparently. Prosecuting burning of the American flag 2 days ago. So yeah, like this thing that has been acknowledged as protected speech by the Supreme Court for forever now attempting to prosecute measures to combat desecration of the American flag. The Attorney General shall prioritize the enforcement to the fullest extent possible of our nation's criminal and civil laws against acts of American flag desecration that violate applicable content-neutral laws, while causing harm unrelated to expression consistent with the First Amendment. That's such gobbledygook. Ah, my God. This is so stupid. Anyway. Waiting for the first attempt to prosecute that shit. Well, I mean, we have talked about the Supreme Court before and how they're in the pockets of Republican donors. And what the fuck are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do at a certain point? Just looking at my phone. Oh, I'm probably only going to be on for another like 30 or 40 minutes. So any donations toward the end of the stream here, we're halfway to our goal. If we can get another $50, I will open the treasure chest. It's a mystery what's in there because I don't remember what I put in there. Hello, Quantum Chaos. I stuck my head into Matt's show and he's fighting with that Martin guy from last night again. God bless him. I hope... Good luck. What are they talking about? Are they talking about purity culture, or they decide to talk about something else because it's not the lady show? Oh my God, my eyeball. Like many of his executive orders, it's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal, but private entities are going to scramble to obey. Just like across the country, even though no laws have passed, it's just a completely unenforceable executive order. There are hospitals and clinics dropping trans youth from their care because they're like not willing to risk any consequences, even though there aren't explicitly any consequences. Oh, they're talking about racism. Great. Oh yeah, that thing he kept oh my God, he kept trying to drag us. He was like, judging people by their aesthetics is the same as racism. And then he refused to accept that, like, having clean teeth or like having like, beautiful teeth or like having your hair combed is a part of aesthetic. He was like, no, that's part of... I was like, dude, the way that my eyebrows are plucked, that's aesthetic and it's not racist. Like, it has nothing to do with race. Like, as far as I know, we have not attached any racial value to eyebrows. In fact, you maybe could have argued that previously, where like the pencil thin eyebrows were like in style, and maybe you could say like that is a beauty standard that is prejudiced against like some women of color, and certain ethnical groups are like they have just broader eyebrows. But now big eyebrows are in, so no, there is no racial association with that. Man, I hope Matt is ripping him a new one. Watch them pull out EPA regulations on pollution that they want to roll back in order to charge people for burning flags. Totally. Yeah. Oof. Martin is a big racist, it turns out. I only watched for about 10 seconds. Yeah. I think, did I even say this during the call last night? It's like, I don't know how many black people there are in Scotland, so I don't know like how much exposure he has to the idea of racism. So like us being three white people in the room talking about racism, and like I did grow up in a community with a lot of people of color, like way more than average. Like if I had grown up even if I had grown up like a couple towns over, I know that it would have been like probably more white people. So, like, even I, with my proximity to that, like, recognize that it's uncomfortable to be talking about racism in a room full of white people. And I also thought it was really dishonest that he kept trying to walk that back. Like, or that he kept trying to say, judging people for their aesthetics is wrong. But on the other hand, he also thought that, like, judging people for their sexual behavior was not wrong. And he was like, we shouldn't be judgmental against people for being judgmental. But you just said you think it's bad to judge people for aesthetic reasons. And then you're saying like any judgment of aesthetics is racism. And also many things that are core to aesthetics don't fucking count. I should have said something like about being well dressed, because maybe he would have, but he was like, you don't have any control over your aesthetics. And I was like, no, that's not true. I just invested like over $100 into skincare products. I promise you, you have control over your physical appearance. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I think Joven, Matt and Joven tonight. I can't imagine him getting any racism shots past Joven. Oh, totally, yeah. I'm glad that Joven is in the room for a conversation about racism, because, like, yeah, again, otherwise it would just be a room full of white people. Some of that is personal hygiene. Sure, but it is also aesthetic. Like, even if someone's teeth have been brushed, if they have bad genes, or if they have a history of, like, not having access to the dental care that you would want, that's aesthetic. And it's something you have control over. You could improve your dental care. You could, like, pay to have it fixed, like, whatever. You could have a totally clean mouth, though, and still have jacked up teeth, and people could be judging you on that. So, yes, like, some things are personal hygiene, but I think it's really ridiculous to say that it is completely unrelated to aesthetics, and, like, the way that people partner with one another is based partly on aesthetics. And then Taylor was pointing out, like, the right wing is also very focused. Like, the people who are purity culture oriented are also very focused on appearance. That's why they're constantly policing what women wear. That's why they, like, all of these women who are involved in purity culture and Mormonism and all this kind of right-wing shit, they all look similar. They wear the same style of makeup. They have the same style of hair. They dye the hair the same way. Like, clearly they do care, and they care about being thin, or at least physically fit. Or, like, maybe, sorry, the other way around. They care about being physically fit, or at least thin. They have a set of aesthetic values, and purity culture is not different in that way. I don't know. It was such a frustrating conversation. But at least it gives me something to rant about for a few minutes on my stream. White beauty standards are forced onto black people in America a lot, but that's not the same thing as simply caring about aesthetic. That's what I was trying to say. I was just trying to say, look, we could have a very interesting conversation about white beauty standards, and, like, and I actually also brought up the fact that black people have to care more about hygiene, because hygiene is heavily aesthetic, and they were punished for seeming unclean. And that includes stuff like, have you ever noticed that, like, black people really are focused on using moisturizer a lot, and they're very concerned with looking ashy? And, like, they're also very concerned about cleanliness, and they're meticulous about their hair. They're meticulous about their nails. Even, like, I think black men, more than any other group of men, racially demographic speaking, are getting their nails done because looking neat and clean was a survival thing. It was necessary. So yeah, we could have a very interesting discussion about the intersection of aesthetics and racism, but that was not what we were doing. He was simply doing a Mott and Bailey, where we're talking about, like, he's saying, like, judging people based on their aesthetics is morally wrong, and me giving these other examples of things that are aesthetic, and that it's not necessarily morally wrong to judge those things, or, like, that he had not explained why it was morally wrong. And then he would retreat back to, like, well, don't you think judging black people because of this is bad? And I'm like, okay, well, you've just retreated to a more easily defensible position. That's a fucking Mott and Bailey. I'm getting better at recognizing those moments when they happen in real time too, which feels really good, because I called him out and I was like, you are doing a Mott and Bailey. I don't think I explained it to him as well as I just explained it to you guys, but I, like, pointing out, like, oh, you just did two different forms of misogyny at the same time. Well, what was it? He was saying that aesthetics is so that, like, caring about aesthetics is bad. I was like, that's misogynistic. And something else. I can't remember what it was. You can watch the video if you want. The clip is going to go live on my channel, like, next week or something. And there's a live stream on the line too. But yeah, I don't know. it was definitely fun for me to argue with them. I'm clearly like, I'm very animated about it right now. It was enjoyable. I look forward to doing it again, if possible. I don't want to crowd out anybody on Chewed Gum because obviously they're trying to make money too. But if, you know, the opportunity is, somebody just had to cancel last minute yesterday and they asked if I could hop on and I did. And I was like, all right, cool. That's good. I have a couple friends with really bad breath. I don't have the heart to tell them, but they're happy with each other. So, ooh, yeah. In my case, I have dentures because my teeth self-destructed from the inside out. Didn't matter how much I brushed or flossed. Yeah, that is like a genetic problem some people have. Blue Phoenix says, hey guys, dropping in. Heard some sad news about the trans community. Need to see something else than that. Are you talking about that the people are saying that the shooter today was trans? Like, I don't think that there's any evidence to substantiate that. Or I guess maybe there is more credit. I'm just now seeing something that's like, maybe there's more credibility to that claim than usual. But yeah. Yeah, we were just sitting here ranting about one of the callers from Chewed Gum. I was on the call show Chewed Gum last night. Going to be difficult to use EPA regulations against flag burners since the EPA is removing regulations. I think Gayfesh was basically saying it would be in keeping with their bullshit if they would use those regulations while they are still on the books right now to prosecute flag burners, and then in like 3 months officially change the regulations. Oh my gosh. My voice. My voice is a little bit tired. The callers last night were kind of insane. I don't know, man. After being on with Matt and Aaron and seeing the kinds of callers that they get, the callers last night were at least talking about something rational. Dally says, I just found out that lupus flares can damage bone. Fuck that. Oh my god. Saliva is key for oral health. Yeah, I take a probiotic sometimes. I've talked to you guys about it before because it's also a way to help prevent you from getting sick, but the Streptococcus salivarius K12, which I actually need to remind myself to go buy some of that today. I need more of it. Okay, and the betadine. I need a betadine for my sibling. Yeah, okay. Quantum says, as it turns out, trans people are people, and some people are shitty and lash out in a bad way. The person being trans could be a non-issue, but you know the Nazis will run with it for months. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. It seems like this is just their go-to. This is just what they are saying now every time there is a high-profile shooting. They just automatically go, the person was trans, and then they start digging for anything that could confirm that conclusion. Which, like, yeah, of course, eventually there would be one. Just like that sometimes there are.
Drea has donated $50. The question of the box must be answered.
Thank you very much. That is super generous. Completely forgot what I was about to say. Oh, but like there will sometimes be a female mass shooter. So sometimes there's going to be a trans shooter. Like, okay, no shit, it's going to happen. Human beings do terrible things. Thank you so much for the $50 donation from Drea. Knocking it out of the park, making the rest of the stream very easy for me because I no longer have to shill. And also I can leave anytime I want to and know that we still attained the goal. I don't remember what's in there. I think I remember what's in there, but I don't remember the specifics. So we're gonna find out together. Treasure chest. What's in the box? True. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway. Strange. No shaking. Ah, I see. I thought that I thought that. It's a sticker. Come on. It's a sticker of a rainbow donut. Hold on. Ah! There we go. That's gonna slam shut in a minute and scare the shit out of me because I left it propped open. Anyway, so this is a sticker that I'm gonna put on my face now. That's like, it's almost compulsive. If I get a sticker, it's either gonna go in a drawer somewhere or it's gonna go immediately on my face. So here we go. Donut. Is that sticker edible or is it scratch and sniff? No, I don't think it's any of those things. It's also not gonna stay on there for very long because my skin is quite moisturized. Was that a Christmas present approved packaging? Listen, I am actually really good at wrapping presents. This time I know it's not my wife's head in the box because she's standing right behind me being weird. Yes, I see you watching me type, and yes, it's weird. Every sticker is edible if you just believe in yourself. True. I have to be careful not to be too expressive with my eyebrows because the sticker is going to come off my face. This is what I am. This is what I think of myself. I'm a gay donut. Like Gordon Ramsay calling you a donut, but a gay one. Yay. Gotta keep it up. You gotta keep it fresh, keep it new. This is probably one of the most underwhelming things that we've had in the box before, but I'm still glad that I got to share it with you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Delicious and nutritious. Yeah. Okay, did I already read this? Every sticker is edible if you just believe in yourself. Yeah, like every mushroom is edible one time. Goodbye, Drea. Thank you so much for helping us get to the goal. I appreciate you. I don't know if we're streaming on Sunday or not. I'll decide later and let you guys know. But have fun. I have more stickers than I could ever hope to stick on things. Yeah, I purchased a large amount of stickers to create an intermittent reward system for my younger sibling, which we don't really do very regularly anymore, so I have a lot of stickers also. But don't worry, I'm not gonna get on a tear of putting a bunch of just stickers in the box. It's gonna be, I think, yeah, like I said, next time I'm gonna have my partner put something in the treasure chest and be like, I don't want to know what's in there. We're gonna surprise everybody, including me. Patches are better than stickers. Well, I can't put a patch on my forehead. I see sticker, I go, psh, it goes on my face. I can't do that with a patch. Am I gonna glue it to my face? Am I gonna sew it? Unpleasant. Then what's the incentive? I just mean, I'm gonna make sure that there's like a nice variety. I might come back around to a sticker eventually, but you can't do a string of stickers. That's just seems like you're ripping people off at that point. I put a bumper sticker that I was given on my laptop since I don't have a car. I've also seen people say, like, you shouldn't put a bunch of not personally identifying, but you should not necessarily put a bunch of customized stickers and stuff on your car because then somebody could more easily stalk you. A patch can be on your jeans forever. That's true. But stickers can go on the laptop, whereas patches cannot. The FOMO would be too strong. Yeah, I have literally like dozens, if not more than 100 stickers. But yeah. I like doing physical objects and not just images in the treasure chest. Makes it feel more like a tangible reward. You get a little like shake the box, see what's in there. Patches on coats, though. That's true. Hard to argue. Well, is there anything else for us to chat about as we start winding down? I love stickers. Nice. I wish I was a person who could draw more, because maybe I should just start making my own merch. Like, just start making my own custom shit. And then I could have stickers. Ooh. Kenne says, I'm getting a UV printer. Ooh, I don't know what that means, but that's exciting. I'd be able to make custom patches and all sorts of stuff. I'd have to make some stuff up and send it to you for the treasure chest. I would need a P.O. box for that. I don't have a plan right now for making a new P.O. box. It's not really in my budget at the moment, I don't think. I'm about to try to get health insurance, and that's gonna cost money. Like, no, health insurance. Yeah, Ian. Yeah, Quantum Chaos came in and told us earlier that Martin from yesterday's Chewed Gum is now talking to Matt and Joven. Now they are on the topic of what is a woman. Oh, okay. They meandered, because earlier they were talking about racism. They've been going for a while, too. If I've now heard about it twice. I don't know if I care about Martin enough to, like, watch this after. Like, if anything, if my partner doesn't want to do something with me tonight, I might go ahead and just watch They/Them. And then probably, I don't know if I'll be able to. I mean, maybe if I watch it tonight and I just get my notes together, I could just, like, smash cut, put together a review tomorrow and do all the editing for it on Friday and just fucking upload it on Friday. I could still, I told you guys at the beginning of the week, I was like, I'm gonna watch They/Them and try to pump out a video before the end of the week. Maybe I need to just, like, work really hard to make that happen, even if it's gonna be a little bit of a time crunch because I got started on it too late in the week. Ah! Deadlines. Not Martin again. I know. It uses resin like a 3D printer. Wait, okay, so for Kenne, there's, like, two main different kinds of 3D printers. There's an FDM printer, which is like a hot glue gun on a robot arm, where it goes and, like poops out layers. You're familiar with those. And then a resin printer. Do you have a resin printer? Which is like, there's a flat plate that repeatedly dips down into a vat of resin and then UV cures each layer. Or, like, actually, I don't think it totally cures until afterwards. The kind that my partner had, at least, you pull out at the end and then you resin cure it at the end. Are you saying you have a resin printer? Because those are cool and you can get a really high level of detail on those. They're great, but they also generate fumes and I don't want one in my house. I only care because Martin pretends to be reasonable and he says he's from Scotland. Yeah, that was something I found really interesting about his call last night, was that he kept bringing up studies to support his view that purity culture was a good thing. But they were like, oh, you mean one study with 21 people? And then Taylor went and looked at it afterwards and was like, the study doesn't even say what he said it says. Blue says, I found a $20 note when walking around. Your stream is giving me luck. Hell yeah. That's exciting. This uses colored cartridges of liquid resin. Okay, so it's a resin printer. And it's a new one that has internal filters. Ooh, okay. Yeah, finding an extra $20 is always good. This, like, why I have so many little side gigs, like so many little side things. Like, I post the selfies on Fansly. I don't get very much money from that, but I get enough money that, like, if every few months I go check it out, I'll be like, oh, look at that. I have, like, money. And then I can spend it. And, like, I have my merch store where it's, like, passive income. People don't really buy merch very often, but that's probably because I don't plug it as much as I could. I should get some more of my own merch and wear it in my own videos more. Also cures everything immediately. Oh, okay, so more of, like, an all-in-one. That's neat. I like that. Yeah, I actually just took my 3D printer, which was in my office, and I put it in the closet. Because I'm like not really gonna set it up. The table that it was on, I would rather just have my table space. And if I really need something, I can ask my partner to print it or something. I don't know. I'm not reasonably gonna set up an FDM printer in my office where I have to exist. So, sad. 3D printer in my closet. Crying. So sad. Now I have my Chapel Roan vinyl album in the place where the 3D printer was. A much better use of that space. You could sell it, then buy a used one again when you need one. No, we are not like that. We are very much people who are like, even if it's a little bit unreasonable, and we're not like hoarders, it's not that bad, but we do tend to be more like, I'm just gonna keep this in storage. Like, okay, I want you to understand, I keep almost all of the cardboard boxes that I think could be reasonably used in a move, and we did not get rid of any boxes when we got here. We moved 2,000 miles across the country, and all of the boxes, except for the ones who were starting to disintegrate, they're in storage right now. And I'm going to keep them until we move again. Or when we need a box for something. Like, that happens sometimes too, where I'm like, okay, turns out we're gonna repackage all this stuff and put it in a different box. Like, okay. So yeah, that's the kind of insane person that I am. So therefore, my 3D printer is going to hang out in the closet until I am gonna set it up somewhere. Also getting a textile printer to make custom shirts. Nice. You're just putting it all together for yourself, huh? That's cool. I should work on my crafts more often. Craft skills. I have a box closet. It's just boxes in that closet. It's a small closet, but still. Yeah. Yep. Box storage. We have managed to get to 75 likes on today's show, and we got to our donation goal of $100. We got to open the box, which had a sticker in it. And now I'm real tired, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and go. I do not know whether I'm gonna stream on Sunday. I'm gonna talk to my partner about it, about like the possibility of just taking a weekend. I'm gonna be hanging out with friends on Saturday evening, so wish me good thoughts for that. And yeah, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I'll be on fucking Takis tomorrow, so if you want to catch me tomorrow on Takis and then calling it now right afterwards, I'll ping in the Discord about that as well.